All right, guys, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for waiting patiently for this thing to get started. Do you guys notice anything different today? Something, I don't know, just something different. Do you guys notice it? I'll wait. Also, I've tried everything with this camera, man. I've looked in the settings. I've changed the bit rate. I do not know why my camera keeps hitching and freezing and stuttering. It's really, 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 really annoying. And I'm just going to keep looking into it and trying different things. I lowered my bit rate quite a bit in the hopes that it would stop the hitching. But yes, it's not Boss behind me. No, it's not Boss. It's Leia. This is very strange. This is very abnormal. I've never seen Leia sleep in the cat tree. So I don't know if this is going to be a new thing she does. But she's joining us today. I don't know if it's going to be a new thing she does or if it's just like a one-time thing. But if it is a one-time thing, then be sure to enjoy it. For those wondering, Leia does not eat snacks. Leia does not eat snacks. I don't know why. She just doesn't like them. But before we get into any conversation, we have Jake Skew28 coming in and dropping a membership gift for you guys. Jake Skew getting us started today. Thank you. I'm going to try closing a couple of these tabs here. Give me a second to close some of these tabs, and I'll see if that stops with the camera. All right, let me know. Let me know if that helps. But yeah, Jake Skew, thank you so much, man. Jake comes in, he drops a membership gift, kicking off the day. Today we're talking about the PlayStation Showcase, the big PlayStation Showcase that's apparently coming as soon as next month. And this is pretty exciting. Hold on. Always forget to turn the light on. But the showcase is coming. It's coming in May, apparently. And I don't know how you guys are feeling, but the way I'm feeling about it is, well, first off, that makes a lot of sense, but Sony's got to bring it, man. Sony's got to step it up. They do. They really, really do. My PC fan is going crazy right now. What is going on, dude? I think I'm going to have to clean out my PC. I don't know. Shit's annoying. No, that's not Boss behind me. That is Leia. Yeah, I know. She's in here today. Leia's in here today. But before we dive into this conversation, guys, and we'll talk about other things as well. First off, just thank you for watching the content. Yeah, Michael, you're saying be careful. Remember what happened last time? Alexander with the super chat saying, I ordered the Getaway for PS2. I never played it, and some other games for PS2. Can't wait to play it. That's actually awesome. So you're going back to experience some PlayStation 2 titles. You have to come back when you play it, Alexander, and let me know what you think, dude. Believe it or not, I remember playing the Getaway. It was many, many years ago. I was very young, and I never really got too far in it, but I do remember, I think I got it from like Blockbuster or something. Like I rented it, and I remember playing it for a while. I do remember that, yeah. So you have to let me know what you think of it. And we have Digital Dude 25 saying, "Good morning, EBG. I made a game list on my PS5 called Xbox Games. Hi-Fi Rush is the first one." Well, there's more to come, dude. There's more to come, Digital Dude. Didn't you hear? Hellblade's coming to PlayStation at some point. No, in all seriousness, that's pretty funny. But I mean, it's not untrue, right? Dude, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of info come out about Sea of Thieves, like about how there's like PlayStation exclusive servers and there's like PlayStation exclusive content. I'm like, this is insane. I'm like, this is the most wild shit. I would have never seen it coming, man. But I do suspect a game like Hellblade will eventually make its way over as well. Man. What's up, Mini Tom? We got Joe Mac 342, a member for 10 months, saying, knowing Sony, they will probably do their show right before Hellblade 2 comes out. Probably, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Did I sleep good? Yeah, so I did get good sleep. Apparently, a lot of people like, based off of yesterday's stream, a lot of people, I guess, like tired, irritable MBG. But I feel better today. Still feel a little bit irritable, but maybe that's just how I am all the time. But yeah, I slept a lot better last night. I had a dream that I was playing Hellblade 2 at 60 FPS on my PS5 Pro. It was great. It was a great night's sleep. And in that dream, outside of my window, Phil Spencer was just kind of standing out there in the rain with tears flowing. Yesterday's stream was fun, yeah. I enjoyed yesterday's stream, and a lot of people upset about yesterday's stream, and I'm just like, well, I don't know what to tell you. A lot of people okay with 30 FPS apparently. But yeah, guys, before we dive into talking about this PlayStation Showcase and our hopes and dreams, a couple of ways you could support the content. Hit that like button. You guys know the deal already. Hitting the like button helps the streams. It lets me know that you guys enjoy them. But there are 3 ways you can support the channel directly. Sorry, I'm turning the light up a little bit. It's a little... There we go. That should be much better. There's a little bit of shadow going on, but that increase in brightness should help. My God, that light is so bright, though. 3 ways you can support the content directly. You guys already know, right? Consider becoming a channel member. You gain access to the Members Lounge. We should be doing a Members Lounge today after the stream. So if you are a channel member, make sure you stick around for that. Gift channel memberships, all right? Really help support the content, really help support the community. We got a lot of very generous people here who gift memberships, and it really helps a lot. As I always tell you guys, I can only run this channel and I can only produce this content because of the direct support that you guys show through fan funding, whether that's memberships, membership gifts, and super chatting. You can super chat, ask a question, give an opinion, make a statement. It all helps. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for powering the streams and powering the channel. But yes, a lot of people were asking me yesterday, MBG, how come you didn't talk about the PlayStation Showcase? It's because I wanted to make sure to give it its own topic because, guys, it's that time of the year again. We are in the first week of April, and apparently Sony is gearing up for their next big show in May. We have Brandon, member for 7 months. He says, hey, I might be late, but what did you think of the Stellarblade demo? I absolutely cannot wait for the game. Locked in, pre-ordered, and ready to go. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I played the demo. I did complete it, and I was quite impressed by it. You know, that the production value is there. It feels like a Sony AAA game. I mean, maybe just like a notch below, but I can see why Sony got directly involved here. You know, the quality's there, the production value's there, the gameplay is fun. There's so much controversy right now around this character Eve. It's like, it's actually extremely annoying. It is. It's extremely annoying. Like, on both sides of it, like people just trying to absolutely weaponize this character and the way she looks, whether it be they're for or against it. And it's just like, God damn, I really hope the game doesn't. I hope people don't overlook the fact that this game is seemingly going to be a very good video game that you play. Like, I hope people don't overlook that fact. People always trying to turn shit into such an extreme argument over like what? Over what? Over jiggle physics? Give me a fucking break, dude. Yeah, I like Eve's character. I mean, it seems like they're going to actually tell a story in this game, which should be interesting. Eve is a Helldiver. They should bring an Eve skin to Helldivers. That'd be, yeah. You want to really break the internet? Getting mad over pixels. So, listen. For those who may have missed it, Jeff Grubb came out and said that there is a PlayStation event happening in May. And when Jeff Grubb was asked whether or not this was going to be a state of play or a showcase, Jeff Grubb said it's going to be a showcase. And this makes a lot of sense. And listen, I've been talking to you guys for pretty much a year straight now about like how Sony really, I think, dropped the ball last year with their showcase. Like, I think they really dropped the ball. I think most of us are in agreement with that. Some people disliked it a lot more than others. Some people thought it was okay. But generally speaking, I just think Sony missed the mark. And you're saying 3 years straight. I mean, that's what's weird about it is like Sony really... It's been a weird generation for showcases from PlayStation so far. 2021, we got a showcase in September, and it was okay. Like, I think what saved the 2021 showcase was the God of War Ragnarok gameplay, the Spider-Man 2 announcement, and the Wolverine announcement. Outside of that, that showcase was mostly forgettable. Then you go to 2022, there was no showcase. Then you go to 2023, it was a bad showcase, and here we are now. So when I say Sony needs to deliver this time, I'm not kidding. Sony absolutely needs to fucking bring the house down, bro, this May with their showcase. Digital Dude 25 with another super chat here saying, how much do you want to bet that the main character for Ghost 2 is going to be someone completely different? Name change and all. I thought about that, Digital Dude. And I think there's a chance, yeah. I don't know how likely that is, but there's definitely a chance. Because I was thinking, I don't really know where you go with Jin Sakai. I think you can. Like, I think... Without spoiling too much, I think if you want to look at Jin Sakai's character arc and that story and the way it ends, I think you could kind of take it both ways, right? Like, you could either go in the direction of, all right, that's kind of his story, right? That's his story. It's complete. Where do we go from here? Or they also kind of set it up to where you can continue to do other things with this character, Jin Sakai. But the idea of having a completely new character, I mean, I was thinking to myself, like, what if it's like a descendant of Jin, right? Kind of carrying on this. But yeah, that's the thing too, right? Like, the character of Jin Sakai, he's a cool character. You know? I think he's a cool character. I think it would be nice to kind of see him, you know, I guess up there alongside eventually maybe like Kratos and like Joel and Ellie and stuff like that, and Aloy. So my hope is that when we get a Ghost of Tsushima sequel, it's going to be more Jin Sakai. But there is the chance that they could go in a completely different direction. Absolutely. Yeah, and I don't know what they're going to call the game. I don't think they can call it Ghost of Tsushima 2, because it's probably not going to take place in Tsushima. But we'll see, Digital Dude. And thank you for the super chat. They're probably gonna kill off Jin and make Yuna the main. Oh man, dude. Yeah, if they want to kill their franchise, yeah, they could do that. They could do that. That would be the dumbest shit ever, man. But I know what you're getting at. I know what you're getting at. Yeah. But, you know, talking about Ghost of Tsushima, guys, listen. PlayStation Showcase is incoming next month, and come on, Ghost of Tsushima is going to be there, right? The sequel to Ghost of Tsushima has to be there. How could it not? And dude, I'm telling you, Sony has the ability to just put the final fucking nail in the coffin for Microsoft as their competitor, but also to just kill this conversation that's been lingering for too long. This conversation that follows PlayStation, that surrounds PlayStation and follows PlayStation fans, which is, oh, you know, PlayStation doesn't have any games and Sony, it's the worst gen ever and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this is the opportunity. Like, go for the fucking kill, Sony. It's about time, right? Like, it's interesting because I saw somebody in the chat a little bit ago. They were like, Sony has been delivering. Sony is delivering. I'm not talking about like the games that they've released in 2020, 2021, 22, 23. I'm talking about like in terms of, again, creating excitement and interest in the games that we don't know about. Like that's the craziest thing, right? The timing of a May showcase makes sense because, well, think about it. We just in March, we got Rise of the Ronin, and now we're in April, and at the end of this month, we're getting Stellarblade. But let me ask you, what's coming from PlayStation after Stellarblade? What comes after Stellarblade? Concord? Do I think Concord will show up? Well, that's about it. And even that still doesn't have a release date. We know Concord's set for this year, but that's it. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, sure, we could say Death Stranding 2, we could say Wolverine, but these are games that, and I don't mean, look, I'm super excited for Death Stranding 2. I think Death Stranding 2 is going to be a fucking banger. It's going to be probably one of the best games that comes out next year. No doubt about it. And I'm not trying to downplay it. Same thing with Wolverine. I'm still excited for Wolverine, as long as they don't turn it into Wokerine, right? I'm excited for it. But that's not coming till 2026. So it's like, we don't know. We don't know anything, man. Fair game. Oh my God, I forgot about Fair Games. Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not trying to be a hater, dude. I'm not. But I'm telling you, Fair Games is going to be a flop. I'm sorry. If there are any Fair Games fans listening to this that have a lot of hope, don't get upset with me. I'm just saying how I feel. I think that game's going to flop, and it's going to flop fucking hard, dude. Like, I think it's going to be embarrassing for Sony. That's my honest gut feeling. I would love to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Fair Games comes out and is the next fucking Helldivers, dude. I know, I have to say Fair Games fans, just in case. I only say that because I've seen people express excitement for that game. And I feel bad because I'm not trying to like shit on their excitement. I'm just being honest in my evaluation. And my prediction, I guess I could say. And Digital Dude again with another super chat says, I really hope the rumors of another Astrobot game are true. And yes, so Digital Dude, thank you for bringing that up. Jeff Grubb followed this up. I haven't seen people reporting on this. But I think it's very relevant. Jeff Grubb confirmed that at this show, I don't know if he said it's going to be at the show, but I mean, come on. It's like, where else is it going to show up? He said there's going to be this May showcase. He also confirmed there's going to be smaller first-party titles from Sony that are releasing this year. And one of the games he mentioned is a new Astro game. And look, do I expect a new Astro game reveal to set the world on fire and blow everybody's minds? No, but dude, have you played Astro's Playroom? I'm hype. Hell yeah. Bring me another fucking Astro game, Sony. I will absolutely play that. And the fact that it's going to come out this year, I'm all over that. So to me, that would be a great announcement to get. Finding out what Team Asobi's doing, hearing about a new Astro game. But he says there's going to be more games. Not just Astro. He's saying that there's a couple of other smaller, like I guess they wouldn't be considered the big AAA banger types games that are actually going to be releasing in the next year for PlayStation. And I think that's going to be a big deal for Sony to lay that out because, again, like it makes sense. It adds up. We don't have anything lined up. We don't have anything lined up after Stellarblade. And, I'm assuming it'll be Concord. So, let's lay it out, actually. For the remainder of this year, Concord, Until Dawn Remastered, and if this rumor's true, Astrobot. Not the strongest lineup, but definitely something. Definitely something that's like, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, Silent Hill 2. I forgot about that as well. Okay, yeah, now we're cooking. Yeah, we could... It could end up being a pretty solid second half of the year. And Digital Dude again with another super chat. Thank you for all the super chats, buddy. You're saying, what if they announce a huge Xbox first party game coming to PlayStation? Oh man, well, you know what, man? I could see Sony definitely doing that, being like, yeah, we'll take that. But I think Microsoft would be so stupid. Like they would be so stupid if they were to allow Sony to do something like that, because that's the worst possible look you could. Yeah, they announced Hellblade 2 coming to PS5 next year. Announced the Sony Showcase. Could you fucking imagine? Oh my god. It's not out of the realm of possibility though, man. To be completely honest with you, it's not totally out of the realm of possibility, but I would be quite shocked if, like, for example, a lot of people believe that Starfield is going to come to PlayStation. I don't think if Starfield comes to PlayStation, we're going to see Sony announce that at a PlayStation event. Like there's just suddenly it would be smart as hell on Microsoft's part though. I said a moment ago it'd be stupid, but the more I think about it, I'm like, well, it's stupid and smart, right? It's stupid because you're hurting your own console, you're hurting your own fan base in a pretty severe way. But it's very smart where it's like, but if you want to sell a shit ton of copies of Starfield on PlayStation, revealing that shit at the PlayStation event would sell a lot of copies. Yeah. So it's stupid and smart at the same time. There's a push and pull here. But I'll be honest, man, like I wouldn't even care that much. I mean, it would be like, whoa, oh my god, an Xbox game at a Sony event. But I'm just totally curious about what Sony's gonna have from their studios, dude. Do you think Starfield will get exclusive content on PlayStation when it comes eventually? Jeez. Sheesh, man. They can't catch a break. The Combo Clinic with a $5 super chat. Thank you, buddy. You're saying, I'm going into the showcase with expectations at level 5. I think Sony's going to lean heavy on second and third party titles. Major first party. LOL. Well, so here's the thing, Combo Clinic. I can't blame you. I don't agree with you entirely. Like, I'm not going in with that level of expectation, but I can't blame you, bro. And we got Whiskey Gaming coming in. Whiskey Gaming drops 5 membership gifts for you guys. Whiskey Gaming brings us right up to 6 members on the day. What? Dude. Every time I click on my streaming software, my camera is just freezing and glitching. Is this happening to you guys a lot? I don't mean to keep bringing it up and complain about it, but it's fucking annoying because there's no reason this should be happening with my camera. I'm about to unplug it and plug it back in, dude, and see if that fixes it. Because I don't is this something you guys are continually seeing? Because it's happening like every 30 seconds or so on my end, and I'm just not sure if it's coming through for you guys. Because I'm not even watching my own stream and I'm getting annoyed. Like every time I just, pop in. But yeah, Whiskey Gaming, I'm sorry about that, man. I got very distracted. Thank you so much for dropping membership gifts, bro. Remember, guys, if we get to 25 members today, if we hit that goal at the end of the stream, I'll bring Boss in. Leia's already here with us. But at the end of the stream, I'll bring Boss in. Doesn't have to be at the end of the stream, but later on in the stream, I'll bring Boss in. We'll give him some snacks. So let's see if we can hit that goal. Maybe update the camera. Yeah, it doesn't say it needs an update. I don't know. You're saying the camera's locked at 30 FPS. It's actually at 60 FPS. You know what? Let me see. Let's see how ironic this can become. Let me go to my camera. Let me drop it to 30 frames. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna try a different setting. I'm gonna say match output FPS. Oh, okay. All right. So I just changed the setting on the camera. Let's see if it continues to freeze or not. I had it set at a locked 60. Now I set it to match FPS output. Maybe that'll fix it. I guess we'll find out. I'll watch myself on screen here as I talk to you guys. Let me see. We got... But yeah, to finish answering the combo clinic before I move on to the next super chat here. Also, I forgot to add these to the counter. Combo clinic, you're saying your expectations for the upcoming PlayStation Showcase in May, you're setting them at 5. So I'm assuming that's like a 5 out of 10. I can't blame you. Like, see, that's the thing it's still freezing, it looks like. That's the thing that's tough for me, is that like I want to go in super hype, right? Like I'm even noticing right now that there's we are getting the closest thing to confirmation that we're going to get until Sony announces it, that a PlayStation Showcase is coming. And I'm not seeing a lot of excitement for it. Like I'm seeing a lot of people be like, "Oh, cool, a PlayStation Showcase, nice." And I could just tell, like, damn, dude, the hype just isn't really there. And I know exactly why this is. It's because, dude, like, most of these people tuned into last year's showcase and they're a little bit worried about getting excited because they don't want to be let down. They don't want to be disappointed. And that's where it's like, yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, when I say Sony needs to deliver this time, that's exactly what I mean. Like, you can't let people down. The time has come, dude. The time has come. We have Smokey the Wolf saying, "Thanks for the great content, MBG. I expect that Sony will tease some bangers, but save most for the back end of the year." Well, first off, you're welcome, man. I'm glad you enjoy the content. Thank you for tuning in and supporting it. Yeah, so that's another thing too. I do suspect that any major reveals we get from Sony, I don't think it's going to be like, I mean, you're saying like their teases. I think they'll kind of be an in-between where it's not just going to be like a 30-second tease necessarily, but it'll be something it's like we're not just going to see like a full-blown gameplay trailer, which would be a little bit disappointing. I'm going to try to drop my camera to 30 FPS and see if I'm actually getting pissed off at this point. Did it even... Is there even any difference? Guys, I just dropped my stream to 30 FPS. Well, I dropped my camera to 30 FPS. Does anybody notice any difference? Does it look like Hellblade now? The irony. MBG bitched so much about Hellblade being 30 FPS. Now he has to present his... It's filmic. Is it cinematic, guys? I need to get some letterboxing. Dude, that would be the funniest shit ever if I just added letterboxes. Like just a letterbox output to the screen. We'll see if that fixes it or not. I'm just desperate to stop the constant freezing of the camera because it's been going on for too long. I need more teraflops to stop the freezing. Shit. But yeah, to get back to what you were saying, Smokey, I do think that there are going to be some projects that are just flat out teased, like where we're really not going to get too much info. I hope that's not what happens with Ghost of Tsushima. Like I do think Ghost of Tsushima is going to be there. I hope we get like at least a minute long cinematic trailer with maybe a few snippets of gameplay, maybe. But that's the thing though, man. Is like the reality of Sony's situation is they don't have to do much to deliver. You know, like that's kind of the question, right? Like, okay, well, what does Sony need to do in order to actually deliver? Well, the reality is they don't have to do a whole lot. There's basically two important things that they have to do, and the way in which they do it isn't so important as much as just them actually doing it. Number one, lay out the next 9 months, right? Like from June to March of next year, give us an idea and tell us what we're going to be playing from you. Like if you're a PlayStation 5 owner, what exclusive games are you going to have to play between June 2024 and March 2025? So that's the first thing they have to do to deliver. The second thing they have to do to deliver is show us the pipeline, show us the roadmap beyond that. We know Death Stranding 2 is coming next year, but outside of that, we don't know when Wolverine's coming, and we don't know about any of these other projects. So, again, they don't have to come out and be like, here's 5 minutes of gameplay of Sony Santa Monica's new IP. We don't need that. I would love to get that, but what they need to do is, here's Sony Santa Monica's new IP. Maybe... would they give a release year? Maybe. Could they say like targeting 2026? Maybe. But that's really all they have to do. Just let us know. It can't be a fucking logo either, by the way. I want to make that clear. Like they can't just say like Sony Santa Monica name of the game and then that's it. They can't just, like, to be clear, that's too little. Like that's just not going to do it. There has to be a proper trailer. You don't have to have a release year yet. Just let us know it's being made for PS5 and it's a new game coming from Santa Monica. You do stuff like that. Here's Ghost of Tsushima 2 targeting 2026, or if not a release year, just coming to PS5. Here's Santa Monica's new IP coming to PS5. You do a couple things like that alongside letting people know what you're going to be playing over the next 9 months. You're totally good. Like, I'm telling you, Sony will be golden at that point. That's what people are going to tune in to see. They're not tuning in. Well, I mean, everybody will tune in for their own reasons, but nobody's tuning in to walk away from that showcase being like, where are the games? You know? Everybody should leave this year's showcase saying, I've seen the games and I know the games and the games are coming. You know, like that's what they should be saying. Did Abandoned genuinely get abandoned? Yes. Digital Dude 25 again saying with a $2 super chat, Blue Point's Uncharted remake / new game. Well, I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Digital Dude. You think about it. When's the last time we heard from Blue Point besides the acquisition? The last time Blue Point shipped a game was at the launch of the PS5. That was in November of 2020. So we're approaching nearly 4 years since we've heard from Blue Point. I'm not saying I necessarily am fully expecting them to show up, but yeah, I mean, it's like that is a studio that sounds like it's very plausible that they would be ready to announce their next game. So we'll see, man. I'm very curious to see what Blue Point's working on. We got Whiskey Gaming here using his milestone chat. Longtime member, Whiskey Gaming, a member for 38 months. Whiskey, thank you so much for that, bro. You're saying, yo, yo, yo. Hope everyone is having a great Friday. Excited to share with you guys that I finally found a house and will be closing on the 23rd. P.S. Boss will make an appearance. Boss will make an appearance. Well, congratulations, Whiskey Gaming. I'm happy to hear that. I remember you telling me that you were kind of, out there trying to figure out buying a home, getting involved with all that. So, congrats, dude. I'm happy to hear that you're going to be a new homeowner. Everything's working out. Closing on the 23rd. That's not long from now, dude. That's just a couple weeks. So, good stuff, Whiskey Gaming. You're going to make a dedicated gaming room? Is that part of your plans? Let me see. And Josh McGill, member for 15 months, says, PlayStation Showcase, bring on Ghost 2. Whiskey Gaming says yes. So he is planning on a gaming room. Nice, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, I hope it comes together well, man. Dude, all right, come on. Killer in the chat says PlayStation really needs to step their game up. Xbox needs some serious competition right now. Yeah, man. Sony, where's your 8-hour 30 FPS cinematic experience? Come on. Come on now, Sony. Where's your... What is Sony going to deliver to compete against Avowed, bro? Have you guys not seen Avowed? What's Sony going to do? I'll be honest with you, man. The only thing... Look, Hellblade looks like it'll be fine. Indiana Jones looks like it might be pretty good. I don't know. I think people need to see more of it, but please, man. Like, I know you're trolling, but it's just funny that people actually think that. People actually think Fable's not coming this year. I think we'll see Fable this year, and may the Lord have mercy on that game's soul. The internet is not going to be kind to Fable, no matter what it looks like. No matter how good the gameplay of Fable is, people are not going to be kind to that game, and you know why. You already know why, dude. They have the... Dude, listen. Microsoft has a unique opportunity right now. You can change what you need to change. So that way people aren't so annoyed with your game. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying an opportunity has presented itself. It's up to you whether or not you want to take that. Clockwork Revolution. What is that? Is that a real game? I'm not even trying to troll. That doesn't ring a bell. I feel... Is it? I don't know. Who's making that? See, that gets me excited. State of Decay 3 is apparently going to be shown at Xbox's showcase. That gets me excited. I would love to see State of Decay 3. Dude, I'll be straight up right now, dude. If there's one game that I actually like, please Microsoft bring this game to PlayStation, it's State of Decay 3. I hope it, dude. My whole thing with State of Decay 3, though, I'm telling you right now, like, I have this pipe dream of these games that come from Microsoft Studios that have this potential. Like, please make them AAA. Like, really realize their full potential. And my hope is that with a game like State of Decay 3, it does get the AAA-ification, right? Like, I want to see a AAA State of Decay because it has the potential to be really fucking awesome. And that's my hope, is that when we see State of Decay 3, it will be a AAA game, because I'm sorry, man, like, State of Decay 2 was good, but it still felt like a really kind of just like a much smaller game. Like it still felt very double A, even more indie-ish. It was still good, but I'm like, dude, this could be so much more if they just realize their full potential. Yeah, I don't know. If State of Decay 3 is like another double A game, I'm going to be fucking furious, bro. And I say this just because like they have the ability. Like if there's any game I think that Hellblade 2 and State of Decay 3, dude, these are two games that have no business being double A or smaller. They have no business being smaller games. These are games that started small that should be much bigger now. And maybe that's just my bias, but I really do feel that way. But we'll see, man. Crackdown 4. Oh, geez. Please, no. Don't do that. MBG Digital Foundry just dropped a Stellarblade demo video, and performance mode is native 1440p at a locked 60 FPS. I'm not surprised to hear that. I played the Stellarblade demo and it performed amazing. The frame rate felt buttery smooth. The resolution looked good. So I'm not surprised to hear that. And it just goes to show, man, like, listen, I'm going to rehash yesterday's conversation a little bit here because I've been seeing a lot of feedback, not just on my channel, but I've just been seeing a lot of people still talking about this. And it's like, I cannot believe, I'm not trying to be a hater. And I don't care if I come off as a hater. I cannot believe the way people are defending Hellblade 2 right now. It's like, this, you want to know why? Like, you want to know why you're not going to get any, you want to know why things are not going to get better? Because you continue to say that this is more than enough, that this is fine. Oh, it's an artistic decision. Save it, please. You know, I'm just, God, look, I've even seen some people, okay, not naming names, but I've seen some people who are supposed to pride themselves on being unbiased, on shitting on everything equally, yada, yada, yada. I've even seen some of these people basically not defending Hellblade 2, not defending it, but just basically sidestepping it, you know? Like redirecting towards something or someone else. When it's like, no, that's not how this works. Okay? I'm telling you, did I not rant enough yesterday? I'm gonna have to rant again. I am. Is the PC version locked at 30? Yeah, I guess then it would really be considered an artistic decision. God, I hope not, dude. Dude, if we find out Hellblade 2 is for some reason locked at 30 FPS on PC, oh geez, it's gonna be bad. It'd be very, very bad. There's no reason for that at all. But I'm just tired of the excuses, man. You know, like, I'm not saying it, like, look, I see people saying things like, I care about the gameplay. I care about whether or not a game's fun or not. I care about characters. I care about the story. I don't care about performance. I don't care about frames. And it's like, dude, that's like, you want to talk about being disingenuous? That's some disingenuous bullshit. Nobody's saying, like, no one is coming out here. And if they are, I mean, they're not honestly probably somebody you should listen to, but who's coming out here and saying, I don't give a shit how good the gameplay of this game is. I don't give a shit about the story. I don't give a shit about anything except that frame rate. If that frame rate isn't exactly where it needs to be, then this game doesn't exist to me. Look, if that is how you view something, then fine. I'm not here to tell you to view it another way. I'm just warning people to be careful about listening to that person because it's like, it's pretty closed-minded. The idea that I will not touch a game if it doesn't do this one specific thing. To me, that's a bit extreme. But see, the reality though, is that what most people are going to say is, wow, maybe your game is great. Maybe the story is going to be great. Maybe the gameplay will be fun. But like, what's up with the 30 FPS lock? Like, what's up with the obsession of just making this game look graphically impressive, but not caring about the performance at all, right? Like, that's what people are going to do, and that's fair. Like, that's the point. That's fair because that's reasonable. You know, it's reasonable, and I think most people could relate to that. But you know what's interesting? Again, I wasn't able to bring this up on yesterday's stream because I didn't realize it, but I saw a lot of people saying that, dude, the game looks very blurry. And I actually didn't watch like much of the new gameplay, but according to people, they're like saying like, yeah, dude, this game, there's something going on with like the type of motion blur or something. And they're saying it looks very blurry, and I'm just like, okay. Oh, and also, I didn't mention this in my stream yesterday, but people were bringing this up as well. They were like, dude, the developer, Ninja Theory, confirmed that you're only going to fight one enemy at a time. And I'm like, what? Like, I still don't believe that. Like, I don't know if they're talking about like boss battles or something. But from what I was hearing, like, people were saying you like literally are going to fight one enemy on screen at a time for every encounter. And if that, dude, there's B Flesher says, MBG, there are multiple enemies in a fight, but you only swing at one because it's all motion captured combat. I mean, I'm not saying that necessarily will make it bad, but it's like, I don't know. That's we'll see, I guess. You've seen multiple. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, that to me, this doesn't really make much sense because like I could have swore I played Hellblade 1. I'm like, do you fight multiple enemies at one time? So I'm thinking like maybe we're talking about like a boss battle or something. We'll see. I'm not trying to hate on the game. It's just like, I'm going to reserve my judgment at this point because like the previews are out. It's previewing well. There's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of back and forth about the game. And I understand why. And I have my own opinions about the whole frame rate thing. But I'm at a point where it's like, all right, I'll just wait to see until the game's out. You know, I'll wait till it's out. And then I'll look into it deeper from there because I feel like that, I don't know, everybody has talked about Hellblade 2 as if it seems like they're trying to hide something. And I've always kind of felt like, well, I don't know about that. Like, I don't think they're trying to hide anything, but it's true that they have kind of been very limited in what they show and the way they present it. Rudy, you're saying it's funny how console gamers care about frame rates now. Yeah, but it makes sense, dude. Because this is the first generation where we've actually consistently gotten 60 FPS. To where the outlier is a game that's locked at 30. So, you know, that's why, like, I see people who kind of respond are like, just get a PC if you care about frame rates. Like, that's bullshit. Like, what is that? Like, that's not, that is completely sidestepping the point. The point is we do get 60 FPS on these consoles. We have been getting 60 FPS on these consoles. You know, the answer isn't, well, this one game or these 3 games aren't getting 60 FPS, so I should just go to PC. No, the answer should be, why are these 3 games, or why are these, like, this handful of games, why are they not getting performance modes? That should be the question that developers should answer. And fuck it, if the answer is we just can't do it, then okay. My answer to that is going to be, well, you should try to figure that out because most other devs have. That's all. The answer shouldn't be just go to PC. To me, that's not fair. Zombie Fanatic, you're saying Xbox should be focusing on releasing games, not an AA, not HH. Well, apparently, I don't know. There's some rumors that Xbox is going to have like a good showcase this year. I'm seeing reports about like Gear 6 or something. It's going to blow people's faces off or something. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. B-Flesh, you're saying, why were devs able to focus on graphics over FPS last gen? Oh, I lost your last gen, but they can't this gen. People beg for true next gen, and it looks like Hellblade will finally give us it. What? Well, B-Flesher, the first part of what you're saying, I'm not saying that developers can't focus. Developers can do what they want. That's it. Developers can do what they want. If they feel that we have to, like, we want to focus on just graphics, and that does mean less focus on performance or no focus on performance, and just we're going to lock our game at 30. I mean, I can respect it from a artistic standpoint where it's like, that's your choice. I think it's the wrong choice. And the reason why I say this is because last generation, it was more forgiving because, well, think about it. 4K was new that generation, right? There were still plenty of games that ran at 1080p 60 or like a dynamic 4K 60. Maybe not plenty, but some. There were some games, right? And that was nice. But 4K was kind of like the new big thing. And it was kind of understandable, especially knowing how underpowered those consoles were. Like, I mean, come on. The PS4 and the Xbox One, literally by the time they launched, they were already underpowered. And so it just got worse each year that generation went on. That combined with 4K being kind of like, oh, well, you know, here we go. Everybody has 4K screens now, so we got to make 4K games. Like, all right, I get that. But think about it. From that point forward, you get the PS5, the Xbox Series X. It's just a natural progression. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, B-Flesher. It's that the natural progression is, okay, we are used to getting 4K now, and we're used to getting pretty good graphics. In some cases, really good graphics, right? Now the expectation is, all right, now we should get 60 FPS. That should be the next way forward. No one was saying next should be 8K. And that's why when we talk about the rumors of the PS5 Pro, like that's why it's a joke that the PS5 box, right? The actual box says 8K on it, where it's like, dude, come on. Who's looking at that PS5 box and be like, 8K? I gotta buy that shit. Like, no one's doing that. You know, nobody's buying any of these consoles for 8K. Nobody's going to for a very long time. There isn't even 8K content. So it makes sense that the natural progression and expectation now is 60 FPS. But I also want to say this. You mentioned how, like, people keep asking for true next-gen games. And I agree with that. I agree wholeheartedly. Like, yes, there have been a lot of cross-gen games, and people are ready for what we would consider the next-gen step forward. But where I don't agree with that is you're claiming that Hellblade is that. And again, without sounding too confrontational, because I'm not trying to come off that way, but I just need to know, like, what about Hellblade 2 looks next gen? Exactly. Wait, so you're saying, hold on, Hebs is saying, so you admit Sony is false advertising? No, see, that's the thing. People don't understand the difference between false advertising and irrelevant advertising. Sony putting 8K on the PS5 box is not false advertising. In very situational circumstances, the PS5 can output 8K. It is a thing it can do. There was even a game, I remember a couple years ago, there was an indie game that prided itself on running at 8K resolution on the PS5. This is a thing it can do. It's totally irrelevant. So it's not misleading, it's irrelevant. And that's why I just feel like, dude, I don't know why 8K is on the box, because it's like, I mean, I guess maybe for like super casual people who are like, 8K, that must be pretty good, right? And they probably hooked their PS5 up thinking, I'm playing in 8K. And in reality, they have no fucking idea. Like, dude, literally nothing you're seeing is in 8K. It could be that. And maybe that would be considered like false advertising in the sense that, well, it like Sony, can the PS5 output 8K or not? If they were to if this was something, I'll put it to you this way: if this were something that were to be taken to court over like a legal battle, Sony would win instantly because like they can prove like, yes, this box can output 8K, so it's technically not false advertising. But I get what you're saying. It's totally irrelevant advertising. It's just like I don't know why it's there. Anybody, I think 90% of people know like you're not buying a PS5 for 8K anything. Also, dude, in all seriousness, is there even 8K content out there? Is there? Because if there is, I don't know where it's at. Perfect Image, you're saying it's Unreal Engine 5, MBG. Follow the engine. No, I know what you're saying, Perfect Image, and I heard about this. Like, I heard that Unreal Engine 5, when it's being fully utilized on consoles, that it is it's extremely taxing. It's extremely taxing. In other words, these current gen consoles cannot handle the entire breadth of what Unreal Engine 5 offers without having to sacrifice, in this case, half the frame rate. Oh, I see you, illegal monkey. Yeah. And I understand that, but it's interesting because I saw it was I was on Twitter, I think it was Twitter, and Digital Foundry's John Linneman was saying that he's pretty sure that if Hellblade was on PS5, it still wouldn't achieve 60 FPS because it has to do with again, Unreal Engine 5. And my whole thought process behind that, because again, people were like saying, well, Sony hasn't put out a first-party game that runs on Unreal Engine 5. And I'm like, well, why do you think that is? Could this be the reason why? Could it be because Sony or their development teams realize that this engine is extremely taxing and it's going to be really tough, potentially, to get the most out of the PS5 using this engine? Could this be why most of Sony's teams, not all of them, but most of them, have their own internal engines? Why is this? Because these internal engines are built around the console hardware that it's what it's being optimized for. That's why the Decima engine, that's why Death Stranding 2 is likely going to outdo Hellblade 2. That's not me shitting on Hellblade 2. That's just Ninja Theory is using Unreal Engine 5. That's a multi-platform engine. I mean, I guess technically Decima is multi-platform because it's on PC, but Decima from the start was built with the PlayStation hardware in mind. And that's why you kind of see like, holy shit, look at the insane stuff Guerrilla's doing with this engine. And then I remember when Death Stranding came out for the first time on PS4, people were like, holy shit, this game looks incredible. And you go look at the trailer for Death Stranding 2, and it's like, yeah, I mean, that's the Decima engine, all right. And so, look, am I saying that the next iteration of Decima running with Death Stranding 2, could we find out? And I want to make it clear, like, could we find out Kojima's going to come out and be like, sorry, this game is capped at 30 FPS on the PS5 because we're pushing the absolute limit of this engine, and there's just not enough overhead. There's just not enough room. It's not possible to do 60 FPS. Could that happen? Yes. And if that does, I'm going to be disappointed because it's like, goddamn. Don't get me wrong. I will appreciate the graphical fidelity, and I'll still play it because I'll have no choice at that point. But I will say, Sony, how could you do this to me, Sony? You got me used to the 60, and then you take the 60 away. You can't do that. And I get it. That's where it's like, I know that's the ironic part, B-Flesh. You're saying it's all recorded in 30 FPS. I understand that. Anytime we see games presented, I know this is the absolute highest fidelity mode, 30 FPS. But every game that I see, again, like every game that I see announced for PS5, I assume there will be a 60 FPS performance mode there, And my hope is that it will look good, not terrible. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is that the idea of like, we need true next-gen games, and in order for that to happen, we're going to go back to 30. Well, I guess this is kind of a tug of war in a way, right? Where on one side, a lot of people are okay with that. And they'll say, yes, like if we have to go back to 30 to achieve what would be considered truly next gen, then so be it. Well, I'll forgive that. But I think on the other side, and I think I stand more on this. I don't know. It's circumstantial, really, but because like let me put it to you this way. Maybe this will help make my position on this a little bit clearer. If GTA 6 is like we see the first gameplay of that, and Rockstar confirms this game's going to be locked at 30 on the PS5 and the Pro. Just this generation, this game is locked at 30. It will be much easier for me to forgive that and get over that and say, okay, I'm looking at this game, next level open world game, next level AI, next level physics. Never seen anything quite like it. It's truly pushing the limit. Okay. I give. Fine. When I look at something like Hellblade 2, I'm not seeing any of that. And that's the point. I'm like, it really is reminding me of the Order 1886, where it's like, again, we talked about this yesterday, but the Order 1886 made the biggest mistake of we're literally dumping every resource into the graphics. And it's like, but people are going to like look at your game and say, but what else is it doing? And then the realization is it's not really doing anything special other than just looking as pretty as it can. You see what I'm saying? Like when I look at, I've seen the gameplay of Hellblade. I've seen the cinematics, and yes, they do look very impressive. Like, man, this game looks fucking incredible. But it's nothing I haven't seen many times over. In fact, like you could probably, you put, let's say Hellblade 2, put that directly next to like The Last of Us Part 2. Should Hellblade 2 look better? It should, yes. How much better? Serious question. How much better? I'm going to say probably not by that much. And you know what? Maybe the same can be said for something like Death Stranding 2. But again, look at what Death Stranding 2 is doing. To me, the most impressive part of Death Stranding 2 wasn't the character models. It wasn't the light. Well, I guess the lighting was a part of it, but it was really when they zoomed out, showed the open world environment, and it looked photo fucking realistic. And I'm like, you're going to be able to traverse that, dude. Like, you see there, you could go there. You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. And this is why I'm just surprised people are being so lenient about it. Or I've seen a lot of people being very critical, but I guess ultimately what it comes down to is I'm just disappointed that a part of this conversation has entered the territory of, well, this is what we should expect going forward. And it's like, excuse me, but fuck no. Okay, like 8-hour linear 30 FPS experiences, fuck off with that. Not the game itself, but to tell me that that's what we should expect going forward. No, I'm here to say, Sony, please come out and remind, or even Rockstar, somebody come out here and remind us all, like, let's get back to fucking reality here of like, dude, we've been there, we've done that, and it's fine. Those experiences can absolutely continue to exist. But can we not pretend that we haven't moved forward? And look, listen, I would have more respect if Microsoft just got ahead of this and said, this is a conscientious decision because we want to show the limits of Unreal Engine 5 graphically on the console. Fine. If you make that clear that that's what you're trying to do, and that's an actual intent, sure. Again, there's still going to be some criticism, but at least, okay, you're making it clear. I don't like that it's once again being manipulated by a certain group of people where they're trying to project it as if, no, this is again, like I read a fucking tweet, it just like popped up on my feed where it's like, well, I'm paraphrasing. It was like, be prepared if you think Xbox is the only one that's going to be delivering 30 FPS games this gen. It's like, oh my God, give me a fucking break, please. I don't know. We'll see. I don't mean to come off so whiny. It's just, I'm not saying people have to lose their shit. I'm not saying that people shouldn't play Hellblade. I still think it looks good, to be clear. Like, I think, again, it seems to me that the Hellblade 2 experience, while it might not be exactly what I ultimately wanted it to be, it looks like it's a lot of passion went into it. And I want to give that credit where it's due, where it seems like the developers definitely cared about the story they want to tell, the character, and the way that they're presenting it. And I appreciate all that. But again, it's just, I think maybe it's a combination of my own personal expectations where I thought it would be something a little bit more, a little bit different, combined with not a lot, but certain people trying desperately to defend everything about this game. And, I just, I will just simply say this. And again, it's not to shit on Hellblade 2, but I would not expect a game like this from Sony and their first party studios. Like, that's the bottom line. And if like, I don't know, if it was just a random new team with a random new game and they're like, here you go, I'd say, okay, I get, like, again, it just reminds me of the Order 1886, where it's like, that's exactly what that was. It's a new, I don't know if Ready at Dawn was new, but new IP, new game, first time doing something like this with this team. It's like, okay, well, all right, I guess it's a little bit more forgivable. But I don't know. I'm going on and on now. We have Josh Z here with the super chat saying, I'm so tired of demand for FPS or graphics. FF7 Rebirth is bugged because they tried to fix performance and broke actual content. Wait, what happened, Josh? I didn't hear about this. I knew that they patched it and they tried to fix the performance mode, but what did they break? That sucks, dude. And I hear you, Josh. And at the end of the day, like, that's why I try, no matter how strongly I feel about it, I try to make it clear that, like, Hellblade 2 seems like it's going to be a good game for reasons outside of its graphics and performance. And I don't want to ever stray so far away that it's like, that's all that matters. It's not. Like, listen, oh, that's what caused the platinum? Oh, wow, okay. I didn't know that was the reason. The last side quest? Shit. My whole thing with this is, it's about going in different directions, but never going too far. And that's why, no matter how critical I am of a game like Hellblade 2 and what decisions Ninja Theory and Microsoft are making, it's why when I turn my... Oh, hold on. Leia has awakened. This is unprecedented. Oh, I guess she's looking to get comfortable again. I don't know. Guys, hello, Leia. Are you going to talk? This has never happened before. It's always just been boss. Now Leia's here. I want to see if I can get her to talk. She's a very talkative cat. I don't know if she will now. Come here. Leia, what? Did you just wake up? The conversation was getting too intense? Look at how curled up her tail is. Are you trying to take boss's place? Leia, what changed? What's gotten into you? I'm genuinely surprised, dude. She never acts like this. She straight up, dude, she replaced boss. She straight up replaced boss. She's like, I'm tired of Boss hogging all the attention. Did you replace Boss? Come on, speak to the people. They want to hear you, Leia. They don't know how talkative you are. I know how talkative you are. Speak to the people. Tell them. Tell them. All right. Maybe she's not talkative because she just woke up, but well, I guess Leia's hanging out with us today. Sorry about that. She really distracted me there. You think she's cuter than Boss? I won't tell Boss she said that. I'm just trying to figure out Leia's angle right now. I'm trying to figure out why she's well, thank you for that. Thank you for not biting my mic stand, Leia. How polite of you. You just give it a little rub, a little nudge, and then she's on her way. Very polite of you. Unlike somebody we know. Anyway, getting back to the conversation at hand here. Had to take a little break there. But getting back to the super chat, Josh, at the end of the day, no matter what, gameplay is king. Gameplay is king. I don't play games because I prefer movies. If that was the case, I would watch movies or TV shows or whatever. I don't play games for any reason other than they are interactive experiences. Do I appreciate cinematic storytelling in games? Yes. Do I appreciate great graphics in games? Yes. Do I appreciate great performance? Yes. I appreciate all these things. But no matter what, no matter how opinionated I may be about things, at the end of the day, I will never stop myself from playing a game because, well, it doesn't look as good or it doesn't run as good. I'll never let that be a deciding factor. In fact, the only reason I'm not playing Hellblade at launch is because I'm legitimately going to wait a little bit to see if it does come to PlayStation. If it doesn't, then I will play it on my PC. But I just want to make it clear, like, my reason for not picking up Hellblade or buying it has nothing to do with the performance. I think it's something that deserves to be criticized because to me it doesn't add up or make sense. And it's not something that I think everybody should just collectively say, this is fine, this is great, this is okay. I think there needs to be some constructive criticism here where it's like Ninja Theory, Microsoft, this is a linear 8-hour single-player game. You know, graphics aside, like, there should be a performance option here. You know, like, that would be very welcome. That'd be very nice. But again, if they're like, no, sorry, this is the only way you can play it, I'm not going to say, well, fuck your game. It looks like shit. I'm not playing it. Like, no, I still think it looks good. I just think that we're always kind of caught in this in between, right? Where we want to see things progress. I do have that kind of in me, I guess, where it's like, I want to see things get better and improve. And sometimes in the case get bigger. Like, that's why I mentioned State of Decay 3 earlier, where it's like, dude, I want to see a AAA State of Decay 3. It's not to say that if State of Decay 3 is still AA, that I'm like, well, I'm not interested at all. I'm not even going to pay attention to it. No, I'll pay attention to it. And if it looks good enough, I'll still play it. But it's like, I really want to see, like, come on, I know there's more you can tap into here. I want to see you push yourself to, like, the next level. Like, see if you can, again, don't go nuts. Because I think sometimes it works the other way, right? Like, where AAA game developers get too crazy about it, where it's like, we got to do everything. We got to check off all the boxes. It's like, you don't have to do all that. Because sometimes it can lead to, if not bloated gameplay and a padded game, but maybe, like you're saying here, like, I mean, oh, wow. I didn't realize Leia was doing all that back there. She's really fighting. Look at this. She's really fighting for Boss's spot right now. She's rolling on the ground, chilling. Sorry, I just noticed that. Look at her. Look at her. Are you trying to get out now? She's funny. She's funny. She's doing a good job. Leia is pretty cute, yeah. The funniest thing about Leia, by the way, as she keeps distracting me here, is she does this weird, strange thing. I mean, I don't know if it's that weird. Maybe it is a thing that cats do. She doesn't like being seen doing cat things, if that makes sense. Like when she, you know how like a lot of cats, they find stuff on the ground and they start kind of playing with it and tossing it back and forth and, you know, I guess like having fun with whatever said object they found. If Leia's doing that, if she's aware that you are watching her doing that, or like you walk in the room and she's doing that, she'll be like, I wasn't doing that. Nope. Like she'll get so tense and weird. Like I wasn't just being a cat. Like, yes, you were. Yes, you are. Same thing with like cardboard boxes. When there's like boxes, sometimes she'll want to try to jump in it. But if you catch her doing it, she'll be like, nope, I wasn't doing that. It's the funniest thing. It's the funniest thing, dude. Also, Leia scratched me the other day because she likes to jump up on this chair here. And I was just sitting there playing. And she's like really intense when she jumps up onto the chair to get to the top of it. And I guess she just didn't see my arm there. And she just accidentally scratched my arm. And I was like, what the fuck? It's like, Leia, I'm just trying to play my game. And you just fucked my ass up for no reason. Maybe it was intentional. I don't know. Did you guys hear that? Come on, Leia. Come on. I'm annoyed because she's meowing back there, and I can't tell if the mic's picking it up. I'll have to record her too at some point, dude. I'm telling you, you see that little clip that I put up of Boss when he sang thanks with his little baby meow. Eventually, I'm going to record Leia, and dude, Leia, it's going to be a whole conversation. It's just going to be like her meowing for like 5 minutes straight. Anyway, very distracted by Leia today. Anyway, to just finish up what I was trying to say, Josh, about the super chat is like, in the case of like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I do feel bad that like, I guess the devs were so pressed about the performance mode visually that they're like, we got to do something now, and then they put out an update and it accidentally broke something. And I mean, look, I'm playing it in the performance mode, or like when I was playing it last, I was playing it in performance mode, and I was like, yeah, this really doesn't look ideal. Like it doesn't look the best, but I also, again, I just made that decision. Like I'm not going to let that get in the way, and it's not. If they can do better, great. But I get where you're coming from, Josh. Sometimes it just, we dig this hole too deep, so to speak, you know, where it's like we've just totally lost the plot. Where are we? What's going on? You know, why are we this fixated on this particular aspect? I get it. How about saying Boss is on the other side of the door? He probably is. Or I don't know, actually. He'll be in here a little bit later. Guys, we hit that goal. We're sitting at 6 members. We've still got a ways to go here. If we hit 25 members, you know the deal. By the way, I got to ask you guys before I continue with these super chats. I changed my camera to 30 FPS, which I don't know if that's registering or not. I don't know if you can tell, ironically, you know, talking with this conversation we're having. Have you noticed any freezing or hitching since I've done that? Because I've been paying attention to it and I haven't seen anything. It seems like that actually stopped it. But I just need to get some feedback from you guys to know if it's still coming through on your end. Yeah, the irony. Had to switch my stream over to 30. Wait, the stream's still at 60? Is it? That's weird. Kyle says hypocrite. It's because of the performance, man. All right, well, we'll see. It's unwatchable. Damn. It was an artistic decision. Perfect Image, you're saying MBG Unreal 4 was great at old gen. To get 60, we need Unreal 6. Well, see, I don't know about that though, man. Right? Because like there are multiple Unreal Engine 5 games that do run. I mean, granted, look, the Unreal Engine 5 games that I'm talking about do not look as insane. They don't look as insane as Hellblade 2, but they can, they still look pretty good and they still run at 60. And this is where it's like, I don't know. I'm just like, that's where I'm trying to figure out. Is it like, is it okay if in 2025, 2026, 2027, maybe 2028, if I guess, yeah, I mean, the current gen consoles will probably still be relevant then. Is it going to be okay if we get games that don't look the same visually, like as Hellblade 2, where it's not going to look that insane, but it looks pretty close, but it can still do 60. Like they can offer that. Like that's, you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that is the way to go, and don't do the whole next gen thing until next gen. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I think like when we look at a game like, let's say Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart or Demon's Souls, well, maybe Demon's Souls Remake isn't the best example, but Ratchet and Clank, right? Like that game clearly like tried to start to push like, okay, we're going to try to get the best possible visuals out of this console while also maintaining 60 FPS. And if it's like, if that, like to me, that should be this generation where it's like, all right, maybe you can't push the bar that much further and still offer 60 FPS. That's fine. Save it for next gen. You know? Do a poll. Let's see. Well, what should I ask exactly? What should the poll be? If you guys want the poll, I want to construct it in a way that makes sense for you. We got Whiskey Gaming coming in here. Whiskey Gaming's keeping this membership train going today. He drops another 5-bomb on you guys. Whiskey, dude, thank you so much for that, man. That's, I think 10 memberships in total gifted by you today. So, Whiskey, with that 5, you just brought us up to 11 members. Guys, let's get some W's in the chat.
Thank you
for Whiskey Gaming here. Thanks, man. I do appreciate the support. Whiskey's trying to do it. Whiskey's trying to get us to that 25 mark. He wants to see Boss come in as well. Let me add that to the counter. So we're almost there, guys. Good stuff, bro. And as I say that, we have Sean Mitchell coming in. Sean dropping another 5-bomb as well. Sean, I think you were here yesterday. You dropped 5. Joining us again today, keeping this thing going. So he follows up Whiskey with a 5-bomb. He brings us up to 16, guys. Just like that. Sean brings us up to 16. And we're almost there. We're less than 10 away. Somebody, you drop a 10-bomb, you do it. You do it. Sean, thank you for that, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm going to add that to the counter now. We're sitting at 16 members on the day. Good stuff. Good stuff. Drop a 50 for the reps. Yeah, if we hit 50, I'll do reps. If we hit 50, I'll definitely do reps. And dude, Whiskey Gaming does it, bro. Whiskey Gaming's taking it home today. He answers the call. He drops a 10-bomb on you guys. Whiskey's like, we're doing it. We're getting past 25. We're keeping this thing going. We're going to get Boston here. And Hellbound 1981 follows it up with a 5-bomb of his own. I know Hellbound was going to contribute. Hellbound's like, I got to see Boss, bro. I need to see Boss. We'll bring in Boss soon. Hellbound, thank you so much for that, man. And just like that, not only did you guys crush 25, but now we're sitting at 31 members. So thank you so much for that. Just like that. Just like that. Let me update the member goal. I'll read these super chats. We'll continue this conversation. I feel bad. I feel like I didn't talk enough about the whole PlayStation Showcase thing. I can't tell if people are tired of the PlayStation Showcase conversation. I feel like they might be, because it's like, I don't know. We're still at that point where it's like, all right, we kind of, I don't want to say we got confirmation, but Jeff Grubb's saying there's going to be a showcase in May. But I think a lot of people still just kind of feel like, well, you know, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. You're not tired of the conversation? Yeah, I do, because I do have more I want to say. I just got a little bit distracted there. It's okay, though. That's the nature of these talks sometimes. Let me see. My predictions for the showcase. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. I want to make sure I read these super chats. Oh, yeah, and hold on. Which is it this one? I meant to play this for you. There you go. Boss, thanks you guys for hitting the goal today. I sometimes I forget to play that clip every time we hit 25. It's my bad. We got Titus Crow saying, it's not whining. It's the right way we should approach this situation. I guarantee if this was Sony, you would be as angry. I would be. And that's the thing is, like, in this specific conversation, talking about Hellblade, here's where I think the disconnect lies. A lot of people were tuned into my stream yesterday and they were like, why do you care? Right? You're not really an Xbox guy. You're a PlayStation guy. Why do you care? And I tried my best to answer that, but something I feel like I don't know if I didn't say it, but maybe I didn't articulate it well enough, is that it kind of falls back down to who's really like pushing the industry forward versus who's not. Who's pushing the competition further versus who's not. And I did talk extensively about this, but if Sony, let's just think of it like this. Let's say Sony bought Ninja Theory instead of Microsoft. And right now, everything's happening the exact same way. The exact same way. Except it's Sony Interactive Entertainment instead of Xbox Game Studios. Now, that's the important thing, is everything's exactly the same. I would still have set up that stream, and I would say about 75% of that stream would have been exactly the same. I would have been just as pissed, just as annoyed, but there's one critical component that would have been removed from that stream. And what would have been removed is, for as annoyed and as pissed off or as frustrated as I am that this game from Sony, from Ninja Theory, is shorter and it's only 30 FPS and I'm questioning all these things, I would at least be able to take a step back and say, but you know what? Sony has proven a lot in this area. So maybe this is, if not a slip up, a anomaly. This is a very different type of first party single player experience from Sony that's not akin to all their other studios, right? It's not going to be a 20-hour experience. It's not going to offer a 60 FPS mode, 120 FPS mode, a 40 FPS. It's not going to do any of these things. It's just, this is what it is. I would still be bothered by, like, why are all these things missing and why is everything so different with this game? But I would be able to look at Sony as a whole and say, but you know what? You've proven a lot and I still trust you, and that this is just an anomaly. The thing that stings the most for me with this game being under Microsoft is that, and I've talked about this many times before, it's just the sheer potential that Ninja Theory has. I don't know if they still have it. I would assume they still have it, but they have this potential where it's like, dude, they need somebody to come in there. And I'm not saying like take over and strong arm the studio. I'm not saying in an aggressive way, but come in and be like, guys, listen, you can take things to the next level, and we want to help facilitate that. Now, who knows? Maybe Sony tried to do that. If I'm not mistaken, Hellblade 1 was like a PlayStation 4 exclusive for a little while before it came to Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Sony did try, and Ninja Theory's just like, we're not interested. Maybe this is exactly what Ninja Theory wanted to make, an 8-hour linear 30 FPS experience on console. I don't know. I'm assuming it is. Like, I'm assuming Microsoft was pretty hands-off, but I just feel like this is where it's just hard for me to, I don't say accept that, but in the case of Microsoft, I think Microsoft needs that. Like, I guess that's all I'm trying to say is, and it's not just because Microsoft needs that, it's because we need to see that competition put there, like, against Sony. That's I think all it really boils down to is it's just, so Microsoft, when they bought Ninja Theory, the way it should have went is you guys proved you know how to make single player story driven games. You proved that with Hellblade, and you did so on a smaller budget with a smaller team. Over the next 7 to 8 years, we're going to do that again with Hellblade, but we're going to go all in. It's going to be a big blockbuster title. That's what it's going to be. And the reason why it should have been that is because Microsoft needed that. They needed it then, and they need it now. And they still don't have it. For as good as Hellblade 2 does look, they still don't have it. And the reason why I, as a PlayStation fan, believe Microsoft needs that is because there's no one competing with Sony on a platform level with games like this. And what I'm trying to say is Sony doesn't have to worry that much. And I'm not saying that makes me believe Sony's just going to fuck up and say, we're not trying anymore. It's not that. It's just, it becomes a more likely possibility down the line. I hope this is making sense. Because somebody might say, well, what about like, I don't know. What's like the next big multi-plat single player cinematic game that's coming out? I don't know. Somebody throw a game out there. I feel like I should know, but my brain's not thinking of anything. Give me like a big AAA story-driven single-player game that's coming from a third-party publisher. RE9. I would use that, but we don't really know exactly what that's going to look like yet. Black Myth Wukong. Marvel 1943. Star Wars Outlaws. Okay. Yeah, those are all pretty good. Okay. Sure, we could go, okay, maybe we could use like Star Wars Outlaws or Marvel 1940. I'm going to go with Marvel 1943 because that is actually being made by Amy Hennig, who worked on Uncharted. So I think there's going to be a lot of similarities there. And it looks like it's going to be very story-driven. Now, here's the thing. You might think to yourself, well, does Sony feel pressured by a game like Marvel 1943? The answer is no. And do you know why? Because that game's going to sell PS5s. That game's releasing on PS5. That game's going to sell PS5s. Sony's got it locked in. It's not exclusive. I'm just saying, like, it's not competing directly because it's launching on their console. So does that mean Sony's going to turn to Naughty Dog or Sucker Punch and say, we don't care now if your game's good or not? No, it doesn't work like that. It's more subtle. What it does mean is that the less pressure Sony feels from any competing source, the more likely they are to lean back a little bit. You know, just, all right. Hey, we're not shutting shit down. We're not canceling our single player games. But you know what? We're not that worried either. And I'm not saying that Sony should be in a state where they're totally fucking worried, where they're panicked and making dumb decisions. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying it's the Starfield situation all over again, man. Starfield was the closest I saw to maybe Sony. They might have to sweat a little bit here, where it's like, dude, everybody's talking about Starfield. Everybody's hyping up Starfield. And everybody's expecting it to be like a game of the generation, and it's not on your platform, Sony. And you have nothing to compete with it. Oh, shit. Now, granted, sure, Microsoft bought them and they secured it. Putting that aside, it's like that was the closest I've seen in literally 10 years where it's like, I think the pressure might be, like Sony might be starting to feel that pressure now, where they might have to try, like, worry about Microsoft here. And then it just was like, oh, no, they don't. It seems. We got Matt Fu coming in. Matt Fu is making his presence known today. He comes out and he drops a 10 bomb on us. Out of nowhere, Matt Fu is keeping this membership train going today. He wants to reach the destination of 50 memberships. He wants to hit that goal. Matt, that's for you as well as everybody else who got us to 41 members on the day. So, guys, we are 9 away. What is that noise? I don't know what that noise is, but we're 9 members away from hitting 50, guys. And you know how it goes. If we hit 50, not only are we going to bring Boston and give him some snacks when we're finished up the topics, but we're going to do some reps. Maybe play some metal. If Corey shows up today, I'll probably play some Metal Gear as well. Theme music, that is. So, Matt, thank you for that, buddy. I'm going to add that to the counter. Really appreciate the continued support that you guys show. But yeah, man, I guess I'm just trying to say that I thought by the time Hellblade 2 was we got to this point with Hellblade 2 where it's like, here it is. Hellblade 2 is getting ready to launch. I thought the conversation was basically going to be like, holy shit, this is Microsoft's moment of like, they basically made the type of game that you would expect to come from PlayStation Studios, except it's not on PlayStation. It's Microsoft's. That's what I expected. And I feel like everything I've learned about this game, it's the exact opposite. It's smaller in size, scope, and scale. It's nowhere near AAA in terms of the amount of content it's offering. It's still very much, it's basically like a AAA looking AA game. Not even AA, I'll be honest. Like, even AA games now are expected to be longer than 8 hours. But we could call it AA. But I'm just like, yeah, I'm sorry. I know I'm going on and on about Hellblade. I apologize. But I just, I just can't really, I mean, I will get over it, but it just still kind of sticks in my mind a bit that, like, dude, it's just going to be Sony, man. And I'm going to have to continue to, I mean, look, we're going to have to be the source of pressure for Sony, is what I'm trying to say. Like, we can't rely on Microsoft to compete. They're not going to. I mean, I'm seeing people like already talk about Gear 6 and they're like, wait until you see Gear 6. And it's like, are we really fucking doing this again? Like that, like we're somehow, some way, I'm fucking spitting. Somehow, some way, we are seeing people coming out and be like, wait till you see Gear 6. Like, after all this time, after all these acquisitions, after everything, it comes back to Gears? No offense, and maybe it will be I'm sure we'll look incredible, but it's like, what? I'm not even trying to shit. I'm sure Gears will be great. Gears has been, I'd say, relatively consistent, but it's like, I'm just so confused by all of this. That's all. Because it's just I don't, dude. We just went from having the conversation like a couple weeks ago about is Gears coming to PS5 to now Gears is going to be the fucking next gen moment, and I'm like, what? I can't keep up anymore, dude. The point is this. Let me bring it back to PlayStation, because that is the point I was trying to make, is PlayStation at some point, it's if it's not, I don't know if it's already happening. I think some PlayStation fans would say it's already been this way for some time, but PlayStation's going to have to compete with themselves. And that's it. They don't have to compete with EA or Take-Two or any of these companies because their games are already on their platform. They're not going to have to compete with Microsoft seemingly either because, number one, Microsoft's games are coming to their platform, and number two, Microsoft isn't making games to try to compete with Sony's games. Chris, you're saying that's the worst kind of Sony? Well, I don't know. Again, this is where it's going to be up to us to just kind of try our best to make it known, like, Sony, this is what we expect from you. This is what we want. And yeah, I hope that they continue to deliver that, man. And that will segue me back into the conversation about the showcase. It kind of bleeds right back into it. Like, dude, this is why I am so pushy when it comes to the next PlayStation showcase, where it's like Sony needs to deliver. And this is why, because this is what some people are starting to think, that Sony doesn't care, or they've lost it. They've lost the spark. They lost the drive, or, you know, they just, it's all just a kind of ABC 1, 2, 3 rinse and repeat situation. I'm like, no, there's no chance. There's no chance. Like, I know that's not how it's going down. I know that's not how it's going down. And I'm ready for Sony to come out and show people that. Totokism Showcase, let's go. 10 out of 10. Hiroki Totoki. I'm gonna laugh my ass off if the showcase opens with a message from Hiroki Totoki. He like starts to try to take all the credit. Novinzer, you're saying, do you think Hellblade 2 will be like Callisto Protocol? I mean, yeah, in a way, yeah. I actually didn't even think of that. There are some, yeah, Callisto Protocol, the Callisto Protocol is a good example of a really big AAA game that's like, this game's huge, like, not huge, but like, it's definitely like, we're trying to meet the modern AAA standard, but there's just too many aspects of it that are like, you're a bit behind. And one of the problems with, I don't remember how long the Callisto Protocol was. Does anybody remember how long that game was? I feel like it was longer than 8 hours. But it was still, I think, on the shorter side. And look, I'm not saying short games are bad. It's 14 hours. Yeah, that sounds about right. But, you know, in the case of the Callisto Protocol, it was like, all right, you know, 12 to 14 hours. You got the visuals. Game looks really good. But then it's like the gameplay and the gameplay loop. It's like something feels like it's kind of not clicking here entirely. And then the story itself was maybe a little bit underwhelming. And then, yeah, so look, I'm going to say this last thing about Hellblade, and then I'm going to move on. I guess I just still have a lot of Hellblade on the mind because of yesterday, but let me say this last thing and I'll move on. Oh, really quick before I say that though, and this is appropriate. Benino says, just heard an old MBG clip calling an Xbox show. Are you talking about that time when you saying calling an Xbox show? Do you mean like I said my stream or my podcast was an Xbox podcast? I don't know. Is that what you're referring to? I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. Because you're almost making it sound like I called into an Xbox show. I've never called into any shows. So that's the way I'm reading it. But the last thing I want to say about Hellblade 2 is that, and this is just like, what do I think? Do I think Hellblade 2 is going to do well? Do I think it's going to be received well? Yes, I do. Ultimately, I do. I think Hellblade is going to get good reviews, and I think it's probably going. I don't know if it's going to sell well necessarily, but I think it's going to review well. I wouldn't be surprised if Hellblade is sitting at like a 90 or a 91. You know? And I feel like that'll be really good for the game. And it'll be really good for Xbox. And it'll be a really good look. But again, it kind of calls into question, like when you look at Metacritic scores and review scores, and this is why I try to tell people, like, you can only take them so seriously, but like, if Hellblade reviews at like an 88, an 89, a 90, we're going to look at, let's say, Ghost of Tsushima. That reviewed at an 83. So if we're just going, like, if that's how it pans out, you know, or even if you look at Starfield, what Starfield reviewed at an 83 or an 84, it basically reviewed the same as Ghost of Tsushima. And it's like, in my opinion, like, these things are not the same. And to even like try to, you know, again, like Hellblade 2, if we were to compare it to say something like Ghost of Tsushima, they're not the same. They're not the same to a degree where it's like they're not comparable. And so I think Hellblade 2 is going to do just fine. I think at the end of the day, I and others are feeling underwhelmed by what it's ultimately turning out to be, because I think we just expected more. Doesn't mean it has to be bad. It just means I think there was a higher expectation. But you know what? I will say this. When I played Hellblade 1, and this is, I guess, the difference. When I played Hellblade 1, I didn't have that high of an expectation. I didn't really have much expectation at all. And I was pleasantly surprised, dude. I loved that story. I thought the game was very interesting and unique in what the story was telling and with the, you know, Senua's journey and whatnot. And I enjoyed it. I just can't help but admit that my expectation has changed since then. My expectation for Hellblade 2 was not basically the same game in the sense it's going to be the same size, the same length, same type of combat. Like everything I see of Hellblade 2, it tells me it's the same. It is the same game as the first one in every single way, except it's prettier. And I think that's where I just got kind of fucked up because I don't know. I guess I was expecting them to come out and be like, we've changed a lot about this game. You know, not just the graphics. Again, that doesn't mean it has to be bad. It just means that my expectations were just off the mark. So, yeah, I guess what it also means is that I should probably keep my expectations in check, you know, for games like State of Decay 3 and whatnot. Hey, it's Andre. You're saying admit the graphics look insane. No, they do. Absolutely. Yeah, no, trust me. If there's one thing I won't say about Hellblade is that it doesn't look good. Hellblade looks very good. I've been saying that for a long time. Absolutely. But we'll see. Yeah. I'm going to move on now. I should have just named this stream. I should have just named this stream the exact same name as yesterday's, but just part 2. It's a sequel. ACM, you're saying, I think Sony Santa Monica is my favorite studio at this time. Yeah, I could easily see why you would think that. I mean, God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok, and the God of War Valhalla DLC. I mean, yeah, they absolutely killed it. And so I want to see their new game, dude. I saw people were telling me yesterday that Cory Barlog was kind of teasing his new game a little bit. They were teasing it. And yeah, I mean, Cory's been known to do that. It's clear that this is something set in space. I have to say, their next game, the new IP that they're working on, out of all of Sony Studios, they're probably the thing I'm most interested in seeing. Not eager, but interested. I'm most eager to see Ghost of Tsushima 2. That's the one I want to see that as soon as possible because I already know it's going to be incredible. But I'm most interested in seeing Sony Santa Monica just because this is their first new game since they made God of War. And that's very, I mean, that's like a, damn, what does that look like? You know? Could be the most, I mean, could it be disappointing? I mean, there's always this possibility, of course. Could it be something that nobody asked for? It could be. But on the other side, looking at it from both angles, it could be the biggest surprise we get in years from PlayStation. It could be literally their next, it could be bigger than God of War. Well, I don't know if it could be bigger than God of War, but it could be the biggest new IP since maybe Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is massive by this point. Could be the biggest new IP since The Last of Us. It's stuff like that I'm like, all right, I'm so interested to know, like, what could this be? Because I know what you guys did with God of War up until this point. What does something new from you guys look like? So hopefully we see it. I mean, I will say Cory Barlog seems to be teasing stuff. I'm wondering if they're going to announce their game this year, dude, at the showcase, because he seems to be getting a little bit more comfortable with teasing things a little bit on social media. Tells me that, you know, we're going to pick up what Corey's maybe putting down here, letting us know it's coming. We will see. Man, I hope it's... Just remember, guys. Just remember. You know what? I'm not going to bother. Well, I have to now. No, I'm not going to bother. Did you guys see that Neil Druckmann's going to be in Death Stranding 2? Apparently. How do you guys feel about that? I think Sam Lake's going to be in Death Stranding 2, but yeah, Neil Druckmann got scanned in. Shinji's like, no! I didn't check the comments. That's funny. Another game destroyed. Dude, I'm telling you, it's Kojima, man. You know that when we encounter Neil Druckmann's character in Death Stranding 2, because if you remember the way it worked in Death Stranding 1, any of the people that Kojima scanned in, they were kind of like side characters that you would do missions for, like delivery missions for. You know that whatever character Neil Druckmann plays, you know he's gonna be holding a golf club or something. Yeah, I mean, he will. He absolutely, like, that's, you know, Kojima's gonna do that. He's gonna be like playing golf. That would be pretty. I will admit that would be some funny shit. That would be some funny shit, man. I hope Kojima does that, just because it would be like, okay, he did the thing. There will be a golfing mini game in Death Stranding 2. I don't think they'll take it that far. Oh, that's a good one. The reward is for a side quest for Neil's character is going to be a bloody golf club. That's a good one. Yeah, that would be a good one. Josh, you're saying here, a classic MBG stream yesterday. Bravo, you had me dying. We're making money from PlayStation sales, bitch. Been a while since you donned the cowl. Attaboy. Well, you know, man, it's I'm not trying. I'm glad you enjoyed yesterday's stream, Josh. I'm not trying. I'll tell you, it wasn't due to my lack of sleep either. I think it was a little bit more irritable because of the lack of sleep. But no, everything I said yesterday, I knew how I felt and I knew what I wanted to say. And, you know, sometimes I just have to fucking get the point across, even if it's aggressively. And I will continue, never sleep. I will continue to do that, you know, like, as long as it is necessary. And like, here's one other thing I want to say in general. When are people and I'm not talking about you guys. You know who I'm talking about. When are people going to just stop with the whole, you're a PlayStation content creator, MBG? You're a PlayStation content creator. Like, when are they? I just need to know, when are you going to shut the fuck up? Because I don't care. I could be a fucking... this channel could be about golf. And I'll still talk about whatever the fuck I want. You know, like, when are these people going to just shut up and realize that I will talk about what I want to talk about, and I will say what I have to say, and that the more you, like, these people need to realize that the more they try to use that as a reason, so much for PlayStation content creator, I thought you're like, dude, if that's the only thing you have left to say to me, then I know I've won. I've completely won, because that doesn't mean anything to anybody who cares to listen in. Just saying. Sorry, I had to just complain a little bit because I see this so much, dude, where it's like, I'm good, like, because here's the point. I could put half of my banner on my channel blue and half of it green, and I could literally put in my channel description, I cover PlayStation and Xbox. Right? I could say this directly, and they'll just find something else to complain about. And that's why I don't care to do that, because it's like, yeah, Xbox is not my preferred platform, but it's still pretty damn relevant to the larger conversation. And anybody who can't see that is just upset by what I have to say. And that's very obvious. I should change my profile picture to Phil Spencer. That's a great idea. I should just do that. That'd be so funny. I cover gaming news. And that's the thing, is like, dude, I'm going to just change my channel's description to, I cover whatever I feel like covering in games. And I love PlayStation. How about that? Does that work for everybody? I think that works. I should do it. I cover whatever I want to cover in the gaming industry, and I love PlayStation. Boom. There we go. But Josh, I'm glad you enjoyed the stream, man. I'm a vlogger. Jerry Gamer, member for 4 months, says, I kind of like Hellblade 1, but it was not a banger at all. It's just funny to see how many Xbots are hyping Hellblade 2 up. Well, I'll be honest, man. The interest I have in Hellblade 2 is from me and me alone. I don't care what anybody, especially Xbox fans, have to say about Hellblade, because all I've had to see for the last decade or so are a lot of those so-called Hellblade 2 fans shitting on those types of games. But now they like those types of games. And that bothers me, because it's like, it's kind of like how, right now they're like, oh, well, look, PlayStation fans love Xbox games. Dude, Sea of Thieves is like the only game, as far as I could tell, that's actually going to do numbers for Microsoft. Maybe Hi-Fi Rush. Not sure about I don't think Pentiment did much. I'm not sure that Grounded's going to do that much. But the thing is, like, this is where I think people have a disconnect. Were people critical of Sea of Thieves when it came out? Yes. And I remember why. They were critical about Sea of Thieves because it didn't have any content, dude. It was a barren wasteland. Like, you could do like 4 things in that game. Flash forward to 2024. Again, Sea of Thieves came out in 2018, I think. Flash forward to 2024. Dude, it's almost like a completely different game. And it's also the first time it's coming to PlayStation. So it's like, I just don't know that this is the best argument to try to make, you know, to say like, well, PlayStation fans love Xbox games. It's like, well, we're getting these games like a while later after, and you're talking about like a live service game here. Now we'll see. We'll see with future games how PlayStation fans respond. But I don't know, man. I feel like I've been keeping that same energy. I'm not buying any of these games. I'm not buying Sea of Thieves. I'm not buying Pentiment. I'm not buying Hi-Fi Rush. And the reason is simple is because I just don't care. Like, these games don't interest me. Now, you drop a game like Hellblade 2, sure, I'll buy that. State of Decay 3, I'll buy that. You drop Halo, I'm good. I'm not going to play Halo on PlayStation. I'm sure plenty of people will. I'm sure plenty of PlayStation fans will, but I'm not one of them. Anyway, I don't know how I keep getting into all these different... It's probably the coffee. All right, Josh. Got another super chat here. Yeah, I know. I know IP Gaming. I know. I apologize. That's my fault. It's my fault. It's because it's clearly been on the mind as of late. Hold on, Chris. You're saying yes, you would, MBG. Don't lie. I don't believe it. You would at least try Halo multiplayer on PlayStation. Chris, I promise you, I would not. Would I talk about it on the channel? Like, holy shit, Halo's coming to PlayStation? Yes. Would I play it? No. I assure you, and that day will come, and you're gonna see that I'm true to my word. I don't give a shit about Halo, dude. I will say, I have to say this though. If there was money in it, like honestly, if it's like, dude, I could do a Halo stream from my PS5. I mean, that's tempting. Even as somebody who doesn't give a shit about Halo, like the idea of being like playing Halo on my PS5. And I don't have anything against Halo. I'm just saying it's not my cup of tea. That's all. You know, if I could put on a successful, lucrative stream because I can use the title playing Halo on my PS5, that would be pretty tempting. But no, I wouldn't. It would be purely for business, not pleasure. What a weird sentence. Josh with a super chat here saying, also, you don't see PlayStation crying and deflecting from PSVR 2 woes. On the contrary, I bet you'll see a couple more VR2 games at their event as usual. Yeah, you know what? You bring up PSVR 2 and we're talking about the PlayStation Showcase and Sony needing to deliver. You know, I will say, man, the rumor of this new Astrobot game, my biggest question is if it's going to be like a VR game. Now, I'm certain, I tried to say sure and certain at the same time. I'm certain that the next Astro game is going to be a traditional PS5 game, just like Astro's Playroom, but more fleshed out. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're like, yeah, we have a full-blown VR2 mode for Astro. And that would get me pretty excited. I got to be honest, because... I mean, look, I know that there was the original Astro game was made for PlayStation VR. I never played it. There was also this rumor earlier this year that Sony's going to re-release Astrobot Rescue Mission, which was released for PlayStation VR 1. They're going to re-release that for VR 2. So I wonder if they're going to kind of have like a dual thing going on here where it's like, here's the new Astro game for PS5 and PSVR 2, and here's also... a remaster, I guess, of Astrobot Rescue Mission. That would be pretty cool. Because I never got to play the original Astrobot. But I loved Astro's Playroom. And I heard Astrobot on VR was awesome. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, hit that like button for me. Haven't been asking enough or reminding you guys enough during the stream. We're almost at 200 likes. I'd really appreciate it if we could see if we could get to 225 likes. I'd really appreciate that. We have Captain Hook here. Or sorry, Josh, another super chat from you. You're saying, also, I just picked up the earbuds to combo with my VR2 and will probably be a couple of months to try it due to this crazy-ass backlog, but I'm impressed. Yeah, I hear you, man. Haven't really seen too many people talk about the PlayStation Explorer earbuds. Is that what they're called? I think they're called the Explorer earbuds. But yeah, the PS5 earbuds. I still have them. It's been a little bit since I've used them, but every time I do, I'm extremely impressed with just like how good they actually are. And yeah, I haven't used them in tandem with PSVR 2 yet either, but I'm sure that day will come. All right. So Josh, I appreciate the super chats, man. We also have Captain Hook here saying, "What's the chance we see another Order 1886 game?" Unfortunately, I think that's completely dead. I always kind of held out hope that Sony would give Ready at Dawn another chance to make like the Order 1887 and kind of maybe help them a little bit. Maybe Sony XDev kind of chime in and help them flesh out the game and get it where it needs to be. But unfortunately, I think there's 0% chance because Ready at Dawn, I think they were purchased by Facebook/Meta. And yeah, they're off the market now. And so what that means is that, Sony owns the Order 1886 intellectual property, but it just simply means that if they want to do anything more with it, they have to give it to somebody else. Now, could they do that? Yeah, they could. But I just feel like, see, the problem with the Order 1886 is that I think those who played it, even those who were upset with it, saw the potential. But the problem is, I think the negativity basically drowned it, where I think Sony was very unhappy with how much negativity there was about the price point, about the QTEs, about how short the game was, about the replayability factor, and how it was basically a movie. It's just a tech showpiece or whatever. I think Sony was very upset about that, and I think that ultimately is going to ensure that they don't touch that IP anymore, because if they choose to do something more with the Order 1886, if they choose to, let's say, give it to another studio and make some kind of sequel or expand the universe, they're doing so knowing that there's already this kind of built-in negativity and skepticism. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we're getting anything in the Order 1886 universe again, which makes me sad because, again, I've talked about this game and it definitely wasn't worth $60. It had issues for sure. And it would definitely not, it wasn't up to AAA standard. What did it come out in 2015? And it's definitely not up to AAA standard today. But that world, those characters, the universe, the gameplay, I think, was like with the weaponry was very unique. There's a lot of things going for it. Like, I really believe that. And to me, that Order 1886 universe is one that absolutely should have continued. And even though I believe Sony isn't ever going to do anything with it again, I will always say they should try to do something with it, because it's a very unique universe. And I like the characters too, man. It was good. It was good, but yeah, it was just kind of a victim of I would say trying too hard to please people on the visual front, and not enough thought, I think, went into, but are people going to be happy with the overall package, Yeah, Galahad was an awesome character. And you know what the worst part about it too is it reminds me of Days Gone in the sense that, dude, if you played the Order 1886, they sequel bait so hard. I mean, that game really sequel baited, man. And you're saying it was like one big prologue. It kind of was, yeah. It kind of was. And that's why I'm saying, like, yeah. IP Gaming, you're saying MBG trying so hard not to talk about the showcase. No, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, we're gonna circle back around here. Let's get back to the showcase topic. All right. I'm gonna put out a poll about the showcase. I'm putting out this poll. I want you guys to vote on it. Sorry. How many options can I add here? I had 4 total. Shit, I didn't think this through. What option should I put here? I'll put... So how hyped are you for the next PlayStation Showcase? All right, hold on. Extra hyped. Regular hyped. Wait, hold on. I got an even better one. Sorry. Bear with me here. Fuck, I don't know how to construct this. I'm about to cancel this poll, guys. I'm sorry. Medium hyped, extra crispy. Wait, you know what? That gave me the best idea. I got it. Thank you, whoever just said that. This is the best way I could construct this poll. Okay, it couldn't have been any other way. All right. There we go. I'm sorry that took so long. That was like the longest ever it took me to put out a poll. But how hyped are you for the next PlayStation Showcase? Small, medium, large, or supersized? I think you get the idea. So vote on that. Subtext with the super chat says, debating on getting Rise of the Ronin. I know you're a fan. What do you think has stood out most as a positive? Things you think reviewers got wrong? It's a good question. For me, as of right now, it's the depth that the game offers. Now, I'm not saying reviewers got this wrong, but I just feel like this is something that... I think this is something that I didn't see talked about very much in general. And what I've learned as I've continued my journey in Rise of the Ronin is that, well, the game is pretty difficult. Like, you definitely have to learn the game, but I'm learning with like the weaponry and the skills and the weapon levels and the different traits and how you actually level them up and all this stuff. Like, it's just way more in depth than I expected. Now, maybe if you're a Team Ninja fan and you played games like Neo, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a step back from those games. I'm not sure. But to me, that is like the biggest thing that I didn't realize going into it, is that there's actually a lot of depth to all of this. And when it comes to the overall gameplay, as I progress further, I will say I can kind of understand why some people would feel a little bit let down, just a little bit, with the gameplay, only because it is extremely repetitive. But I would say it's no more or less repetitive than Ghost of Tsushima. And so that's why I don't see that as a negative. And I do feel like that was maybe something that some people felt kind of negative about, is like, you know, the gameplay just kind of, you know, it's somewhat rinse and repeat. But I don't know, man, like, there is stealth. The stealth isn't that strong. It's, again, the stealth is basically what you would expect from a AAA open world game these days. The sword, well, not just the sword fighting, but any weapon you're using, the combat feels good. That's pretty much what you're doing. Like, most of the time, you're just engaged in combat, and you know, you do encounter higher level enemies. And again, it is in a lot of ways very rinse and repeat, but exactly, it's the gameplay loop. And I just kind of get this feeling that between doing the basic open world things that you would do in any open world game, go to the towers, you know, do the side missions, collect the cats, and then that combined with the rinse and repeat gameplay loop, which is, again, I know I keep using the term rinse and repeat like it's a bad thing, but just the way the gameplay loop is, I think some people probably I don't know. I think that some people probably didn't give the game enough of a chance, because I will also add to this subtext that, and I'm not trying to sell you on the game, definitely decide for yourself if you want to pick it up or not, but it took me a little bit to really feel comfortable playing Rise of the Ronin. Like, I enjoyed it from the start, but I could tell from the start that, like, all right, I'm struggling with it a little bit. And so it took me probably about like 6 or 7 hours, which I mean, maybe that's a lot, but I'm like 40 hours in now at this point. But for the first 6 or 7 hours, there's just, and I think another reason for this is because they throw a lot at you. Like, I don't know if anybody who's played Rise of the Ronin, they really just kind of bombard you with, here's all the stuff, learn it. And then, like, okay, it's a bit much. And I just felt like for a little bit, I didn't really know exactly what I was doing. But then I was like, I'm not going to care about that. I'm just going to play it. I'm just going to figure it out. And then everything starts to click. And I'm like, okay, it's all feeling pretty good here. So I don't know if that's a great answer or not, subtext, but I wouldn't be surprised if some reviewers kind of felt that way. Like, they got overwhelmed, and, you know, the game doesn't necessarily do the best job at explaining how deep some of these systems go. You kind of have to figure it out yourself a little bit. But like, what I would recommend is, for example, look up like Rise of the Ronin weapon guide and stuff like that, or Rise of the Ronin, like, how to level up weapons, and just watch, because there's some people, I don't know who they are, I don't know the names of the content creators, but they've made like in-depth videos on this stuff. And I think if you watch that, I think it's going to be like a little bit better. I think stuff like that does a better job of kind of explaining like how deep some of this stuff goes, compared to just like a regular review where they definitely, I think, mention it, but I feel like they just kind of gloss over that a little bit. But I feel like that's also the stuff that matters to, I think, a lot of players, especially for a game like this, where, dude, the game, you know, the game, it's so combat focused and combat heavy. There's different fighting stances, different fighting styles. There's different rarities for the weapons. You got, you know, the different colors. You got like orange is the rarest, and then green, and then blue, and then gray. And, you know, all this stuff is kind of thrown in there. And I think you just, as you play it longer, you kind of begin to realize, like, man, this stuff is pretty vital. Like, for example, for a long time, I was just using the rarest weapon that I had. And I didn't realize that, yes, this is a rare weapon, but it's a low level. And it took me kind of doing a little bit of, like, because I didn't even look at the weapons level. I didn't even pay attention to that. And it kind of took me like looking it up a little bit to realize, like, oh shit, I have all these other higher level weapons, but they're not as rare. And the rarity basically determines what kind of traits and bonds, I think is what they call it, that the weapon has. And I just like didn't realize, holy shit, no wonder why I'm struggling so much. I'm like level 25 and I'm using like a level 9 weapon. And so it also made me realize I have to really focus on upgrading these weapons too, as well. Like, if I find a rare weapon with great bonds that I want to use, I think that's what they're called, bonds, or I call them traits. I'm going to have to level that shit up. And I know that seems obvious, and you would think I would know that. But for some reason, like, I just, again, the game kind of throws so much at you. Yeah, and matching sets and stuff like that. Yeah, and there's really a lot you can do. And so there's, what's interesting about it is it seems like there's a lot of like RPG aspects here that I just wasn't privy to at all until at least like 10 plus hours in the game. I'm like, oh, this got a lot more RPG stuff going on here than I expected. So I don't know, hopefully that helps, but it's a good game. I'm enjoying it. Snumpkin, you're saying, can members add you on PSN? I hope Sony shows some banger first-party games soon. It's about time. I don't do that with my PSN. I just keep, you know, like personal, like friends and family and people I know in person. Although I did open it up for Helldivers 2, as in like people could add me on Helldivers 2, and in the future with other Sony multiplayer games, maybe we'll still do something like that. But Sumpkin, I'm in agreement, man. Like, Sony has to show some bangers. They do, man. Like, it's people, I think, are too extreme with the way they talk about PlayStation sometimes, where on one side, I feel like people talk about Sony, the PS5, and PlayStation like they've completely shit the bed this generation. They failed. Mission failure. It's just not good. And I don't agree with that at all, because I see people kind of push back against that. And I think people make it sound like Sony has absolutely like 10 out of 10 this generation so far. And I wouldn't call it a 10 out of 10, but I wouldn't call it a 4 out of 10 either. I'd say Sony so far this generation, I'd give them like a solid probably 7.5 out of 10. Maybe higher, maybe an 8 out of 10. And that, some people might say that's too high, but it's like, dude, look at their output. I think that's what bothers me more than anything. I'm not like, not to take a defensive stance necessarily, but it's like, we are on track, I guess. Maybe a little bit behind. Maybe just a little bit behind. I feel like Sony has done what they needed to do for this generation so far. And that is, most importantly, if you're going to sell people a new console, make sure there's good content, like a good amount of quality content on that console. And they did exactly that. Now, granted, maybe if you're not a big fan of the cross-gen stuff, maybe you question that a little bit. And the only area, like, again, this is why I kind of continue to frame these conversations this way, is the only area I think Sony has fallen behind in, or on, however you want to phrase it. They're falling behind in game announcements and good shows, exciting shows. And that's why I feel like we have to be on track now, right? Where it's like, listen, if the reason why Sony has fallen behind on announcements is because, number one, games are taking longer to develop, and number two, they don't want to announce these games like 4 to 5 years ahead of time, then those two things make sense. And those two things would perfectly explain why it's taking a little bit longer than maybe we expected. But I will say, again, the pieces fit here, right? Like, it's all kind of adding up, where last year's showcase was underwhelming. And the thing that made it so underwhelming is we didn't hear from any of the studios that we wanted to hear from, except Insomniac. But that was for a game that was announced the year prior, or actually 2 years prior. Even crazier, right? We heard from Firewalk. We heard from Bungie. We heard from Haven. And I'm just going to be honest and say, like, no, I'm not saying we didn't go into last year's show saying, I hope we hear from them. But I assure you, not a single PlayStation fan went into last year's showcase saying, man, I hope the only studios we hear from are the new ones that, are unproven, or Bungie. Nobody said that. Like, what we said was, it would be cool to hear from those studios, but I also want to hear from Studio X, Y, and Z. Naughty Dog, Sucker Punch, Sony Santa Monica, Blue Point. Maybe Housemarque was unrealistic to expect. Ben Studio. This is what we went in, and we didn't get any of that. We didn't get literally anything from any of those studios. And so this is why I'm saying, if the reason for that is because, well, they just weren't ready to show their games, or their games are too far out. Well, we're a year removed from that now, and there's nothing ahead except Concord. I'm talking first party here. Concord and Wolverine. I mean, we could count Death Stranding, but that's technically, that's a third party thing. And so knowing this, it's like, okay, now's the time. Like, now is the time to show. Because let's look at it the other way. What happens if Sony doesn't deliver? I mean, let me ask you guys, what happens if Sony doesn't deliver with their showcase this year? Calamity. That's what happens. We got Perfect Image saying, playing between Rise and Assassin's Creed Valhalla got me ready to play Rise of the Ronin. It's funny because I've seen a lot of people comparing Rise of the Ronin to the Assassin's Creed games. And I mean, I could, you could tell, like, I mean, I won't lie. If you played any of Ubisoft's open world games, yeah, it takes a lot of inspiration from that. But Perfect Image, I appreciate the super chat. You said Smurf for the win. You're saying console sales will lag. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, dude. That is probably the most important thing here. It's that Sony doesn't want to see their console sales slow down, and they are beginning to slow down, and they want to jumpstart that and make sure that they can keep it going. And here's a question I have. And this to me is an interesting one. I don't know that I ask these questions, and I understand that it's almost impossible to get objective, factual answers to them because we don't have all the information. But it's interesting to think that Sony started the fiscal year of 2023, which began April 1st last year. So about 1 year ago. They started the fiscal year by telling their shareholders, we're going to break a record. We're planning on setting a new record, by far a new record, with 25 million PS5 shipped in 1 year. 25 million. Extremely bullish target that honestly was like, whoa. God damn. Like that's a huge target right there, Sony. Good luck. And the month after they announced that, they put on their showcase. And that showcase, I know that there's still people who look back at that Sony showcase and say it wasn't that bad. They shit the bed as far as I'm concerned. I'm brutally honest when it comes to my evaluation of Microsoft. I'm going to be brutally honest when it comes to my evaluation of Sony. I think that showcase, they fucking shit the bed, dude. Like, I was there, man. I was there on the ground floor where I saw the way people reacted, and I was like, yeah, this is it was the dark times. It was a dark time. You're saying it was very mid at best. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say like the at best extremely mid, at worst shitting the bed. And to me, I knew, like, the reason why I say they shit the bed is because I knew what my expectations were going into it. And I genuinely felt like this is it. We went 1.5 years without a showcase. We don't really know what's next. This is the moment. And the big splash that Sony had was Spider-Man 2. And I'm like, huh? Like, I was just like literally dressed up as Big Boss, just like, But it's interesting, and here's what I was trying to get at. It's interesting to me that Sony has what I think many would consider to be one of their weakest showcases ever, if not, in some people's eyes, the worst showcase they ever did. And they don't hit that target. What I want to know is how connected these two things are. Because think about it. Sony starts the year, we're going to break a record. We're going to break a record. Hold on. We're going to sell 25 million units. Flash forward 1 year, they have an incredibly underwhelming showcase. They only had one major first-party release, I believe. Yeah, one major first-party AAA release in Spider-Man 2. And they have to announce that, yeah, we're not hitting our target. We had to reduce it by like 5 million. And we still don't know if they're going to even hit that target. It just makes me wonder if they believe, I mean, even they might not know the answer. Like, is anybody inside of Sony, do you think they're like, okay, so we didn't hit our target, and we also had a bad showcase with a lot of negative feedback. What are the chances that that negative feedback caused the ripple effect that basically did the opposite of generate excitement for the PS5? I'm going to tell you, like, I think those chances are very high. I do. I think that showcase basically sent out a ripple effect that was felt all throughout 2023 and has certainly carried over to an extent into 2025. And I think that's where it started. I do. I think it started with, oh my God, you guys really underwhelmed. And that's why I'm saying if they can come out this year and they deliver, yeah, like these cats, man, always showing their ass to the camera. If they can come out here, yeah, and that's true. I guess, yeah, they still did set, I think, a new record, if I'm not mistaken. But it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just what I want, right? Maybe I want to believe that bad showcase or that underwhelming showcase is why. But I don't know. We have Review Scientology USA saying Sony definitely needs to show everything they're working on in May/June. GTA 6 is coming out next year, and that's going to be the talk of the town. Good point. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah. That is something Sony has to consider. Yeah. Every video game publisher and every video game developer. Do I think that's what's going to happen? I don't. Well, there's also this. I will tell you this too. There's also the fact that Sony has another piece of hardware that they have to sell this year with the PS5 Pro. And I do think that, like, if there was ever a time where it's like, all right, maybe not show literally everything, but really try to push to show as much as you can, it's probably now. It's probably now. Again, it doesn't have to be ready to release this year or even next year, but show it. Show it. And yeah, I wish Sony would kind of go back to their older ways a little bit here, where they would announce the games. And I know that a lot of people are against like waiting years for games, but I at least appreciate that in between the wait, Sony would show like new gameplay chunks and give us updates and whatnot. Hello, Leia. Leia's joining us again. Man, I can't tell who is shedding more. Leia, I think Leia is shedding more than Boss. What is it, Leia? What? What? Come on, say something. I want him to hear you talk. All right. One of these days, one of my cats is going to meow right into the mic. One of these days. Leia, do you think you could get your ass out of my face? That'd be great. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, just get it all on camera there. Sorry, guys. My cats just can't help but expose themselves when they're on camera. Thank you, dude. You're saying she's a very pretty cat? Yeah, Leia's, she's cute. Smurf, you're saying, I still don't understand how people hyped up that absolute scam of an Xbox showcase last year. I'll tell you right now, Smurf, like, something that becomes clearer and clearer to me as each month goes by, as each year goes by, it's that the expectation levels are just different. They are. I'm not saying that. I mean, yeah, and that's, yeah. I hyped up the PlayStation Showcase, and it was underwhelming. And again, to me, it was pretty shitty. But I also had an extremely high expectation. Honestly, maybe to an extent, an unreasonable one. I think some people pointed that out. But I also look at the Xbox Showcase, and I'm like, it wasn't bad, but it's interesting that I remember people talking about the Xbox Showcase like, holy shit. And I know why that is. It's because, yes, that was like the first really good showcase they did in a long time. You know what I mean? So it's it kind of makes sense when you think of it that way. And we got Disco Cobra 2013 coming in. Dude, another $50 super chat from Disco Cobra. God damn, dude. Thank you so much for that, bro. Really, really, really appreciate that support, my friend. Let me see what you're saying here. You're saying, not sure if I want to be a more news-oriented channel. I more or less just talk about trendy things or upcoming stuff I'm more interested in on my channel. Gears of War 6 has me hyped a bit. Possibly the PlayStation Showcase. Hard to top that state of play. Dude, they have to... I mean, I'm in agreement in that I don't think for me, on a personal level, it gets any better than Sony and Herman Hulst and Kojima coming out and being like, we're basically going to have Kojima make the Metal Gear Solid spiritual successor for PlayStation 6. I don't think it gets any better than that. But I guess it's also one of these things that's so far away that it's like, okay, you could probably do better than that in the here and now, because I know that that's many years away. But when it comes to like stuff you're saying you want to talk about on your own channel, I mean, my recommendation to you, Disco Cobra, is gravitate towards what you feel most naturally interested in. Like whatever's pulling you in the most, just talk about that. I'm not saying it'll work, but I'm only going based off of my own personal experience, where when I started my channel, I was into gaming in general, but at that time I was much more so into Xbox. And I talked about, it's interesting because I was really into working out. I talked about working out and I talked about video games, and I did talk about Xbox. And I started to notice that people seem to be a little bit more interested in the Xbox conversation. Not, again, my channel was very, very small, but I was like taking note of that. Like, oh, these videos where I'm talking about some Xbox stuff seem to be doing a little bit better. And then I was like, okay, let me lean into that a little bit more. And then my channel kind of evolved into, well, I guess I make videos and content talking about Xbox now. And as I was doing that, Xbox was just shitting the bed over and over and over again and really struggling. And I started to express my frustration. And that was kind of part of the, like, you know, you're saying here you're hyped for like Gear 6 and maybe the PlayStation Showcase. See, I would say don't limit yourself if it doesn't come natural to do so. Because the one mistake that I definitely made back when I first started my channel and I started gaining any traction was, well, to be honest, it was easy for me to limit myself because I wasn't playing on PlayStation at the time. I was playing on Xbox, and therefore I didn't really talk about PlayStation that much. I mean, I did a little bit, you know, but I remember at that time, it's kind of funny, like, Xbox fans didn't really want to talk about PlayStation because PlayStation was killing it so hard that it was almost like, we don't really mention that here. Although, I don't know if people remember, dude, back when I was talking about Xbox, I always said, I'm going to get a PlayStation for Death Stranding. Like, I always said that. Like, everybody was like, bro, when are you going to get a PS4? When are you going to play on PS4? And I'm like, at some point, maybe. But no matter what, I always said, I don't know when I'm going to get a PS4, but I absolutely will for Death Stranding. And it happened around that time. But it was actually other games that brought me over sooner. And I guess what I'm trying to say, dude, is that when I was starting my channel and I was talking about, you're saying I'm not loyal. No, trust me, I'm pretty loyal, dude. Like, I am actually a very loyal individual. Like, when it comes to personality traits, I'm extremely loyal. But I'm also, so with that, it's also, in order for me to be pushed away, it's got to be pretty bad. Like, it's got to be something that I'm just like, you fucking broke me here. And not to be like, not in a dramatic way, but just in this case, it's like, dude, Xbox broke me, bro. Where I was like, oh no. No. Like, I can't do this anymore. This is crazy. And it was very sad. But what I'm trying to say, Disco Cobra, is that at the time, a lot of people were telling me, listen, man, you are missing out on PlayStation. like you need to go to PlayStation, because people would tune in and they would listen to my complaints. They would listen to my complaints and they're like, literally the thing you're complaining about, they're doing that like a lot, like better than anybody else right now. And I was just extremely stubborn. And one of the reasons I was stubborn was because, again, I was a smaller channel and I was like, well, you know, I built up a bit of an audience here, people who, you know, I guess they expect Xbox content from me. And, you know, I had this fear where it was like, because that's the funny thing. People always tell me, they're like, dude, you just switched to PlayStation because you wanted views. It was literally the opposite. I was afraid that by choosing to finally go play on PlayStation again, that I was basically like, well, you gain this small following of Xbox fans that like to hear you talk about Xbox. You're going to lose that. That was my fear. And I was just very hopeful that, well, I hope people are here to hear what I have to say, not just because I'm talking about one specific thing. And so I guess Disco Cobra, what it comes down to is, again, just try to gravitate towards what feels most natural to you, right? Like what feels just most intuitively like, this is what I want to talk about, because I definitely have something to say about it. And, you know, I still do that today. I mean, I know people are like, oh, you know, all you do is talk about Xbox or PlayStation, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, dude, the truth is, and I know you guys know this, anybody who tunes into my streams, you know we talk about a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit that you don't see in the titles, that you don't see in the thumbnails, and different topics of discussion that we talk about. And same, especially in the members lounge. So I don't know if that helps or not, man, but like if you're excited for Gears 6, talk about it. You know, if you're excited for the PlayStation Showcase, talk about it. Fuck, man, make a video talking about both, or make them separate, or, you know, just, again, you kind of just got to lean into, I think, what comes natural. But I also want to add this caveat. It's easy for me to say that because the biggest disconnect between me talking about my experience on YouTube versus somebody who's maybe just starting is, if there's something I absolutely recognize, is YouTube's a very different beast today than when I was like first doing it. I think I started in like 2016 or 17, and it was intimidating then. And I'm somewhat established here on YouTube, and I have been for a while. I am literally intimidated by what I see out there. It's insane. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm just saying you gotta just take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I don't know what it would be like to start over and try to do it for the first time in 2024. I just know that things have changed. But I feel like the advice I just gave, I want to say it's kind of timeless. You know, it's like, just always try to do what comes natural, you know, what feels right. And Disco Cobra with a $20 super chat as well. Disco, dude, thank you so much, bro. Really, really appreciate the super chats, bud. You're saying, another thing is, I still don't think the PS5 has come close to hitting its stride. They need to finally put the PS4 to bed, stop developing games for that, and just build only on PS5. We need some bangers for PlayStation bad. I agree. That's why I'm saying, like, the time is now. My fear with Sony right now, like my biggest fear, is they don't realize that. And I'm more optimistic than I am pessimistic, but the worst case scenario is Sony doesn't realize that they don't realize, like, you have to bring the bangers, so to speak. Like, it's now. Maybe people can completely overlook last year's showcase and just, again, like, forget 2023, forget 2022, whatever. All that matters is, did you bring it in 2024? But that's the thing. If Sony doesn't do that exact thing, put the PS4 to bed, show the bangers that you got coming for the second half of this generation, people are going to think even more so about last year, even more so about 2022, and they're just going to add 2024 onto that and say, you didn't have a show in 2022, you had a poor show in 2023, and then you had a second poor show in 2024. It's going to be like Sony, I'm telling you, they cannot afford to do that because I agree with you. You're saying you don't feel like the PS5 has come close to hitting its stride yet. That's exactly how I feel. It makes me sad that Sony thinks it has. Like, that makes me very sad, dude. And I don't know if you guys caught on to this. When we went over, I think about a month and a half ago, Hiroki Totoki talking to the shareholders, he said that he believes Sony Group, I mean, I don't know if it's him or Sony collectively, I'm assuming it's Sony collectively, that the boardroom or whatever, they believe that 2023 is the peak sales year for the PS5, that it's not going to get better. Now, I have a theory on this. I don't know that they truly believe that, but they're playing it safe, and they're saying that based off of COVID. The reason I say this is because I think that they have evaluated the situation and they think, okay, we're going to see a massive spike in PS5 sales in 2023 that's mainly driven by the COVID demand of people who aren't able to get them. And so in order to play it safe, we're going to assume that's as good as it gets. Now, that's smart. If you're a business person at Sony and you're talking to shareholders, last thing you want to do is set yourself up for failure. It even seems like with that in mind, they got too bullish with the 25 million units sold. And, you know, it would maybe be a bad idea to say, and we think next year or in the year after could be even better. But this is where I think if Sony comes out and they show those bangers, they make it clear we've moved on from the PS4, they show the bangers like we're talking about, and they really have that like E3 2015, E3 2016 level show, I'm telling you, man, like you will have a better sales year. I if not better, like maybe it'll be similar, and you definitely maybe didn't peak. Definitely maybe. I gotta stop. That doesn't make sense. Definitely maybe. Maybe you didn't peak yet, but even if you did, having a similar sales year would be just as good, but this time you're doing so with a lot of goodwill. And that's the thing. In 2023, Sony wanted to hit 25 million units sold, and they wanted to do that, and they did that during a time where they lost a lot of goodwill, man. You guys know this. That showcase last year cost Sony a lot of goodwill, and I saw it, dude. I fucking watched it, and it happened in real time. The internet, not collectively, but a large portion of the internet turned on PlayStation, bro. In real time. They just turned on PlayStation, and the conversation around PlayStation became so toxic and negative. I had never seen anything like it. I was like, dude, are we going back to like early PS3 levels of fucking toxicity in how people view Sony? It was getting bad. And to be fair, it's still kind of like that a little bit. And I knew something was fucking really wrong when going into this year, Sony was the only, like, I'm not saying the only one, but Sony had a fucking strong lineup, dude. We're like, we got FF7 Rebirth, we got Rise of the Ronin, we got Stellarblade. We're putting out The Last of Us Part 2 for PS5. You know, like, they were the only ones that had games like consistently like boom, 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 like ready to come out. And everybody was still like, nah, dude, PlayStation's lost, Sony's lost. Like Sony, the conversation was still so negative. And it just made me realize, like, God damn, if Jim Ryan did any damage to PlayStation, I mean, sure, we could talk about the Bungie thing. We can talk about, you know, like just potential mistakes that they've made or that Jim Ryan's made on a financial level. But if there's one thing that I think Jim Ryan may have actually really done is he hurt the goodwill of the internet, of the not just the fan base, because I think there's a lot of fans that feel the opposite, but they just lost this kind of like overextended goodwill that I think they earned all throughout the PS4 generation and even at the beginning of the PS5 generation. And that to me is like, you need to get that back. You need to get that back because I'm following this shit so closely, and I just can't help but not see the connections here where it's like, Forspoken doesn't land. You don't have any new major first party titles lined up from your known studios. You know, we're seeing minimal gameplay. You have a bad show. You know, PSVR 2 isn't really lighting the world on fire. You know, now there's even problems with Spider-Man 2 and the whole Sweet Baby Inc. shit. And a lot of people feel like you're remaking and remastering too much stuff. And it's like, this is what these are the conversations. And yes, Shems, FF16 was huge last year, but it wasn't enough. Like, it wasn't enough to save Sony from kind of falling in that pit of like, because think about it, even when Final Fantasy 16 launched, dude, the conversation was fucking toxic, man. Like, most of the time. Did it even sell enough? Did it even sell? Like, is this game flopping? Is this game flopping because it's a PS5 exclusive? And it's like, you know, and is the performance mode even good enough? Is it actually maintaining 60? It's like, listen, of course, it wasn't perfect, but it's just like the conversation should be Sony just got a fucking banger of a game, dude. Go buy a PS5 and play that shit because it's awesome. And that's not what it was. Like, it's just not what it fucking was, dude. And this is where I'm like, that shit right there needs to change because the conversations were never like that. They were never like that prior to 2022 or even 2021. Like, they just weren't like that. I remember. You go back to 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. The conversations around Sony, around their games, and around their partner games were not like that. The worst I remember seeing was with Death Stranding. And to be fair, Death Stranding was a shocker of a game where it's understandable that people were a little bit shell-shocked about what they saw. All right? I get it. But even then, people kind of came around and was like, yeah, this game's actually pretty awesome. And I just feel like this is where they need to get back to that. And I'm not saying that means announce games that are 5 years away. I'm just saying it's like, you got to speak to the fan base. You do. You got to speak to the fan base. Because Sony didn't speak to the fan base last year with their showcase. They didn't. They left their fan base feeling puzzled and confused and frustrated. And Spider-Man 2 was not enough to just carry the load there, man, so to speak. Where for as big as Spider-Man 2 was, it's like, that can't be it. Like, we can't, you know what I mean? It's just like, there has to be something else there. And so I think that's what it boils down to, man. It just, you're saying they speak to the shareholders last year. Yeah, well, you know what? That's why I'm very curious to see what they have to say next, because how did that work for them? I don't think the shareholders at this point in time are fully sold on Sony's live service vision. Maybe Helldivers 2. Who knows? Helldivers 2 could have been. Helldivers 2 did more talking than Sony did at that showcase, you know? And it's funny because did Helldivers even show up at that showcase last year? I think it got like one small trailer. That's interesting. Rudy, you're saying you feel like there's a negative feeling around console gaming in general. Yeah, you're probably right about that. I just want to see Sony get back into proper form, because I'm reading what Disco Cobra's saying here. He's saying that he feels like the PS5 hasn't come close to hitting its full stride. I feel the exact same way. And I'm not just talking about sales. Maybe sales-wise it did peak, but in terms of like PS5 generating that level of excitement that's going to define a console generation hasn't happened yet. Have there been great things? Yes. Have there been exciting things? Yes. But have there been like truly generational defining things? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think that's kind of normal, where it's like it usually happens the second half of the generation. But I feel like the only thing that's abnormal is we normally know more by now. And right now we don't. So we will see. We will see. I'm very, even though I'm being very intense and maybe pessimistic to a degree, I am very hopeful about this PlayStation Showcase. Like, if I were to vote on my own poll here, how hyped am I for the next PlayStation Showcase? I can't say supersized. I can't. I won't allow myself. I want to be that. Like, that's what I want to be. And maybe deep, deep down, that's how I actually feel. But if I'm being like real about it and being logical, at most I'll say large. Large. Because I can't say that my expectations are medium. No, dude. I'm not tuning into a PlayStation Showcase for a fucking medium. I'm not tuning into a PlayStation Showcase for a medium. Michael Wernick, you're sent. I noticed you're here, man. I'm sorry. How'd that go, by the way, with the PS5, Michael? Also, Michael, I meant to ask you. I was trying to find you on Twitter, and I searched at Junior Wernick. Are you an Eagle? Are you the Eagles fan? I found this one account, and I feel like it could have been you, but the profile picture was different from the one I see here on YouTube. This person's account that I was on, that is, oh, okay, that is you. So big sports fan, big Eagles fan, wearing a pirate hat. Okay, all right. Okay, yeah. Then I guess I found your account. All right, cool. I'm an Eagles fan as well, by the way. I don't follow football anymore, but Eagles are my favorite team by far. Eagles were my father's favorite team. He loved the Eagles. That's cool, man. All Philly sports, nice. Send me a video. Yeah, I'll try to open up a line of communication, so we can. Because I don't know. I'm telling you, I think a lot of people didn't. I believe you. What did you say? You shipped it out. You shipped the PS5 out. Yeah, you saying you just shipped it out. Yeah, I gotta see. I gotta see the. I gotta see the evidence, bro. Because that's awesome. That's so funny too. You're just like, bro, I'm gonna buy a PS5 and give it away. It's good shit. Herman Hulse knows he'll get destroyed at the showcase as trash again. I hope Herman took it personal. I do. I hope he did. I hope he read those comments and was upset. I don't want to say like upset and distraught, but just like, fuck, I let them down. And I hope our words, not the nasty ones, but just the actual real feedback, I hope that served as motivation. Yeah, I hope PlayStation approaches their next showcase with they have something they need to prove. That's all it comes down to. Kelsey hopefully goes totally WrestleMania. Yeah, Herman left Twitter after that show, bro. I did, and you sent all the participants a video of the PS5. Okay. Good shit. Good shit, man. Yeah, let me know. You said you shipped it out. I'll be looking out on the streams going forward when the person receives it and they can give you a picture or whatever, just showing that they got it. I'll contact you on Twitter and we'll just do PS5 giveaways. I don't know. Yeah, Gaming Survivor still recovering from last year. Therapy. Don't resist the showcase hype. I'm going to resist it right now because it's easy to resist right now. All right. I'm going to resist it right now because it's the beginning of April, and if Sony is going to do a showcase in May, could be the end of May. We could basically be close to 2 months away from it. And so I don't want to jump the gun. I'm going to get ahead of my skis, but I do. And also not to, I'm not trying to pump up Jeff Grubb and be like, believe everything Jeff Grubb says. I'm just saying Jeff Grubb to me has proven to be a very reliable source when it comes to PlayStation shows specifically. He's still seemingly the only person that has a contact. I don't know if it's at Sony, but somebody He has a contact that knows when Sony is setting up their shows and when they're happening. And so, I'm assuming Jeff Grubb will give us more info as we get closer, because I imagine, he'll probably be inquiring about that. Yeah, and look, I think Sony could have a tremendous showcase if they can have a strong first party, but also a very strong third party as well. Because it's true, they have a lot of third party partners that are probably ready to show games too. What if it gets delayed to September? Oh no, dude. The only way that would be acceptable, in my opinion, is if Sony is willing to just announce a game, like, in June. I'm not saying, I mean, maybe it could be a state of play, but at the end of that state of play, you just make a major. See, I don't know though. That would fuck everybody's expectations up. You do a state of play where you announce Ghost of Tsushima 2. You're messing the expectation up. Like, going forward now, for every state of play, people are going to expect a first party, announcement. But I think the only way they could delay a showcase and get away with it until September is they would have to show something new in between, just on its own. And I don't know, like it can't be a Concord state of play. Sony can't come out in the middle of the showcase season and be like, or in the middle of May, June, or July and be like, here's a Concord state of play, dude. Like, that's hell no. What happened to the idea of PSX? Yeah, that would be cool. I would love to see PSX return, but I think Sony, you know what I'm thinking? And I feel like not enough of us put this type of thought into it. Maybe it stressed the devs too much, dude. Because think about it. Sony was expected to do a mid-year show every year. And the devs are expected to be, got a mid-year show coming. We got to show our shit. And then, by like 6 months later, it's like, we're doing it again. Maybe it stressed the devs too much. Maybe it was just too much, And I think, here's what I think. I think the problem with, am I saying that? I think. The problem with PSX is the fact that it was becoming an annual thing. And the realization dawned on them that we can't keep up with this every year. So it seems that they just decided, we're just going to retire it. I also believe that PlayStation Experience was a Sean Layden thing, because I noticed that it pretty much stopped after, close to when he left. You're saying Boss is still sleeping? That's actually not Boss, that's Leia. Leia completely stole Boss's sleeping spot. And I'm really curious to see how Boss responds, because I don't think Boss is going to be happy about this. Now, I have a second one of these. I have a second one of these that screws on here. So it comes up to here. And the only reason I took it off is because I never saw any of the cats go on it. Like, they never went up to it. Now I'm wondering if Leia wants to sleep here and Boss wants to sleep there, I might have to bring that up and have them both sleep there, which would be great. Am I going to dress up for the showcase? Probably not. Truthfully, probably not. I feel like that was too distracting, man. I felt like it distracted me and it distracted a lot of other people. Honestly, it's when I saw, dude, people were fucking making fun of me. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. I'm just trying to show my passion for Metal Gear. You know what really disappointed me is that, yeah, I'll bring the clown wig. What really disappointed me is when people tried to weaponize it, where they're like, look at this PlayStation fanboy. He dressed up as Big Boss because he thought Metal Gear was going to be exclusive. Like, what are you, a fucking idiot? You think I would cosplay as any character because they're exclusive? Like, who does that? I'm going to cosplay as Boss. My cat. All right, guys, listen. We are 3 hours and 10 minutes into this stream. We are 9 members away from hitting a second goal, okay? So, in a moment, I'm going to bring Boss in. We're going to give him some treats. But is anybody going to answer the call and drop a 10 bomb so we can get to the 50 mark? And if we hit 50, I'll throw in some reps as well. But we are going to be heading to the members lounge once we close out the stream. We're going to hang out in the members lounge for a little bit. But it's up to you guys. If somebody wants to drop that 10 bomb, it's on you. Cat fight incoming. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes they do fight, but not really in the room. So let me go bring Boss in. Ryan wants the reps. I'll be right back. All right. Boss is in here. He has joined us. Leia's disturbed now. And Sean Mitchell drops a membership gift. Sean Mitchell wants to see us get to 50. Sean dropped 5 earlier, so this makes 6. Sean, thank you so much for that, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I should dress up as Phil Spencer. Dude, I should dress up as Jim Ryan. That would be funny. But Sean brings us to 42. Come on, boss. How do you feel about Leia taking your spot? Do you have anything you'd like to say? You're just going to look very sadly out the window. Boss is upset. Dress up as Mark Cerny. That would be pretty funny. All right, let's get Boss some of his snacks. Here you go, Boss. You did it. You did it. They did it. Holy shit, bro. What? Hold on. Am I reading this correctly? Hold on now. A fucking 50 bomb? A 50 bomb, bro? What? What a fit? Damn, dude. The most I asked for was 10 memberships, and Oliver comes in and is like, here you go, dude. Here's 50 fucking memberships.
Holy shit.
Boss, I would give you more snacks, but I think... Holy shit, dude. That is insane. I was not expecting that, Oliver. Well, now we got to do some reps. We got to do a whole workout now. Because Oliver, dude, Sean's like, all right, I'm going to get this thing started. I'm going to drop a membership. And then Oliver's like, bro, let's drop a 50 on him. That's crazy, though, dude. Oliver, thank you so much for that, bro. That's wild. I don't even know where we're at now. Well, you know what? While the counter's still going up and Boss is enjoying his treats, we're going to do it. We're going to get some reps. What do you guys want to hear? I got some metal tracks. I don't know. You want to do metal? You want to do Metal Gear Solid? Let me update this goal and show you. We're at 92 members now. God damn. That's insane, dude. Leia, you seeing this? Is it because Leia? Is Leia good luck? Oliver, I appreciate that, bro. You show up sometimes, man. And you never know. Oliver Opera, dude, he comes in and he drops like big donations sometimes for the channel and the community. I swear, he's like always lurking around. You just never know when he's going to show up. You see, so we're at 92. Amazing stuff. Yeah, that support is incredible, dude. Seriously. And Michael Wernith's coming in. Michael Werneth dropping 2 memberships. So Michael just brought us to 94. Dude, are you guys going to hit 100 today? That's wild. I'm genuinely shocked right now, dude. Like, that's a crazy turnout right there. Michael drops another. He brings us to an even 95. Although, wait, I think that's an odd number, yeah. It feels even to me, though. And holy hell, dude, Oliver's going nuts, bro. Oliver's going nuts. I'm sorry, boss. I just yelled so loud I actually startled boss. With a huge donation here. Is it, yeah, 100-pound super chat on top of dropping a 50 bomb. And he says, I need to spread democracy. My lord, he needs to spread democracy. Dude, that's crazy. What an insane donation train right there. And Michael Werneth does it. Dude, Michael drops a 5 bomb and he gets us to 100 members. Oh my lord, you guys have absolutely just exploded out of nowhere. It's euros. Who did that? 100 euros. I'm sorry. 100 euros. Come on, man. I'm your average American. You think I know the difference? All I know is it's large. That's all I know. And Pepator, I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly, but he drops a 5 bomb. I feel like this is the first time I'm seeing him gift. And he just brought us up to 105. Dude, this is crazy. I'm legitimately in disbelief. You just never know, dude. You never know. Please don't knock my drink over, boss. Well, I definitely got to do some reps for you guys. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah, I'm in wow. I might have to take my shirt off now. Hey, whoa. Gotta keep it safe for work. I'm just kidding. I say that shit as I swear left and right. But listen, I'm not saying I'm taking my shirt off. I think maybe in the future. I mean, I'm sure people are curious. Like, bro, you say you're MBG, muscle bound, whatever. I'm like, I want to make some gains first. You know, I want to make some gains first. Who knows? Maybe it'll happen during the PlayStation Showcase. You guys are not ready for the amount of hair on my chest, though. Let me tell you, dude. If I took my shirt off right now, you guys would be like, "Bro, did all of your hair that was on your head go to your chest?" And I would say, "It seems so." But goddamn, dude, you guys have absolutely killed it today. I on a more serious note, thank you for the support, guys. It means a lot. It does. Let me see. I'm trying to... I think Leia wants to get out now. Leia, you are trapped in here with me as I do some reps. Yeah, so guys, we are now sitting at 105 members. So you obliterated the goal. We were sitting at 41, and I was encouraging you to help us get to 50, and instead you got us to 105. Massive turnout today. Cannot thank you enough. Head reveal. I don't know. At some point, it's going to happen. I keep saying I'm going to wait till 100K. When we get to 100K, I'll do the head reveal, but I just don't know when that's going to happen at this point. But yeah, before I break out the weights and do some reps for you guys, I do just want to say that, you know, to everybody who gifts memberships, to everybody who drops super chats, and especially, you know, those who are coming in and doing some heavy lifting, dropping a lot of memberships, dropping large donations. Big shout out to you guys. All right, I don't do sponsorships here. I don't run ads while I'm streaming except for the intro ad that you have to get. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm fully fan funded, and it's all those types of donations and fan funding. That's what makes it possible for me to run this channel, to try to continue to grow this community and create this content. So yeah, it's very humbling to see this level of support. And I can't thank you guys enough for it. But with that being said, we are going to do some reps now. I owe you guys that. Let me get it set up here. Get some kick-ass music going. What exercises should I do? I want to do some curls because I feel like I'm struggling to grow my biceps. Hair chest reveal at 100K. Or chest hair. I read it as hair chest reveal. It's chest hair reveal. We could do that. One step away from an OnlyFans, right? My chest hair's under the hat. I'm telling you, the day I do a head reveal, I'm gonna like try my best to put something under here so when I take it off, it just comes as like long flowing hair. Shoulder press. All right, I want to get a good track here though. Hold on, Leia. Hold on. Let's see. Do something heavy or... God damn, dude. Am I torturing my cats? They do look like they're getting a little bit uncomfortable, don't they? But that's for you guys. Getting some skull crushers in there. When am I making an OnlyFans? What could you even put content like this on OnlyFans? Holy shit. That was intense though. Got some hair on my legs there. But there you go, guys. Got a little bit of everything in there for the arms. Some biceps, some triceps, and some yeah, I'm gonna have to let lay out in just a second here. Some shoulders. And not make any money, yeah. Well, guys, look. The channel name is Musclebound Gamer, alright? This has to be a necessary part of the Hey, at least I save it for the end, right? Grunt into the mic. Yeah, it might be taking things a little bit too far. Legs, my joke to you, dude. I guess I could do some squats, but I try not to do anything like major like that because I will be totally taxed. Like, I won't be able to talk in the mic for a little bit. Say Metal Gear like Snake. Metal Gear. I don't know. I can't do Snake, man. I can't do a proper impersonation. I've been trying my whole life. It just doesn't work. All right. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. You see boss? See him on the bench? Here, boss. Got boss's own little weight set there. Those are actually Leia's weights. All right. Michael, you're heading out now. All right, so here's what we're going to do, guys. First, I got to turn this music off. How many platinums do I have? I think I have 39 now. So what we're going to do... Broccoli Rob, control yourself, bro. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on, they might be fighting. You see that? Boss was trying. Boss was trying to start a fight with Leia. She wasn't having any of it. All right, we're going to end the stream here. And I'm going to open up the members lounge. We're going to hang out in the members lounge for a little bit. So if you are a member, please join me over there. Whew. Let me, okay, yeah. So before I go, guys, thank you so much. I'm taxed. I'm exasperated, dude. Yeah, thank you so much for making this such an incredible stream. Definitely unexpected. We're ending at 105 members. Just a reminder, the goal today was 25. You guys killed it. Got us to 41, and just like that, we're at 105. So thank you so much to everybody who supports the channel, supports this community, supports the content, supports my cats, supports my family. Thank you so much, really. And thank you to everybody who dropped super chats as well. Thank you for tuning into the content. If you're somebody who watches live, if you watch after the fact. I can only do this because you guys are here. So shout out to this community. Damn. All right. So that does it. Just hit the like button on your way out. Also want to give a big shout out to Devil Shooter. He does the timestamps. And again, if you're a channel member, I'm going to put up another stream right after this. Members Lounge. We're going to hang out in there for a little bit. So I hope you'll join me. And to everybody else, I will catch you in the next one, probably on Sunday. So until then, guys, take care.